and they know that we, the Israelis, are up and ready to retaliate against any Iranian attack, and therefore they have perhaps decided that it wouldn't be the best thing from an Iranian point of view to attack Israel from Iran.
As many American military families are still living with the scars following the Biden administration's abrupt withdrawal from Afghanistan. Kelly Barnett is a Gold Star mother of Marine Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
The more I've learned, the more I delved into the inner workings of politics and how this Afghanistan withdrawal went down, I've become angry and less tolerant.
Some prominent lawmakers say that messy departure from Afghanistan has made America less safe and emboldened this nation's adversaries.
Well, so far in the Biden administration, no one has been held accountable for the disastrous, hectic withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Chairman Mike Turner leads the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
President Biden had said at the time that we would not run for the exits in Afghanistan, and in fact, his administration did so in the middle of the night, resulting in the loss of lives and the oppressive Taliban regime quickly taking back Afghanistan. In Congress, as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, we established an Afghan War Commission to review this matter and to review really what were the issues of our failures in Afghanistan. How could we look to have lessons learned? How can we hold people accountable for what was a disastrous and deadly chaotic withdrawal?
In the 3 years since the withdrawal, in your assessment, how do you think the United States' absence has impacted the region and our adversaries around the globe?
Well, one way that it has impacted our adversaries is it's made them stronger. We know that the United States and our Western allies are more at risk today because there are terrorist groups and organizations that are based in Afghanistan that are plotting attacks against Americans. The Biden administration had promised America and the world that on leaving Afghanistan that they would, by so-called viewing it over the horizon, make certain that Afghanistan did not fall into the hands of terrorists. But yet, as we know today, there are those groups and organizations, so much so that the Biden administration has even had to go back in and take actions within Afghanistan. But it continues to pose the threat that it did before 9/11, which is why America was there to begin with, to prevent that from happening.
This weekend, Israel carried out further strikes in Lebanon against Hezbollah after Israel received intelligence about a planned Hezbollah strike. Has Israel efforts in Lebanon complicated those ceasefire talks, or should we just forget about the ceasefire at this point?
Well, first off, Israel has to defend itself, and the Iranian proxy groups of Hamas and Hezbollah, even the Houthis in Yemen, pose a threat to Israel and really all Western allies. The fact that Israel sees the need to go in and to address a threat is all because of still the nefarious actions of Iran within the area. It's difficult within that environment of Iran continuing to target Israel and Israelis through their proxies for any meaningful ceasefire to evolve. And the negotiations are ongoing, and Director Burns of the CIA has done an excellent job in continuing the negotiations to get hostages released and to march toward a ceasefire. But it remains still very precarious to try to accomplish with Iran behind the scenes, making sure that they're undermining Israel and Israel's security.
Another huge topic in the intelligence realm, reports about the Iranian plot to assassinate former President Trump. What can you share on the depth of the plot? And do you fear more assassination attempts?
Absolutely. You know, it has been publicly stated by the administration outside of classified material that as a result of the death of the killing of General Soleimani, Iran had begun to target both Trump administration officials and Donald Trump himself. It is not classified. The administration has released that they have in custody a Pakistani national who was the first step that they were taking to implement a plan for a murder plot for hire to assassinate Donald Trump. What's incredibly troubling is the administration has taken no action against Iran as a result of that, made no real statements, declared no red lines. almost every national security policy expert has said that if a foreign government, a foreign state assassinated a political candidate in another country, that would be an act of war. We're certainly attempting to do so is more than just a law enforcement issue. Arresting someone is not the last step that this administration should do. I think most people are continuing to wait for the administration on just an understanding of the value-based statements of what this threat is, to take action and to make strong statements to Iran.
There's also public reporting that Iran is meddling in the presidential campaign after multiple cyber attacks by the regime. What are your thoughts on that, and what can be done to stop this from happening?
Well, again, this is one where through being able to go in and triage and understand what has been happening in the hacking environment, that Iran has been identified as a culprit. Again, the administration is silent as this is ongoing, where you have Iran not only the nefarious actions in the Middle East against the United States, our allies and Western allies in Israel, but right here in the United States is attempting to meddle in the election. And this administration remains silent, and again, is taking no action.
There was also the attempted assassination in Pennsylvania over the summer. Little is known about the motive of the attempted assassin. When do you think the American people can expect answers? Obviously, the House is digging into it.
Right. The House has an investigation. The investigation continues on the administration side. There is a lot to be learned. Although the FBI has initially said that he was the lone shooter, they have not said that he was the lone actor. There are a number of leads that need to be concluded to be able to determine who was he in touch with, who else was he communicating with, and to what factor did they play in his assassination attempt of Donald Trump.
Let's talk a little election year politics. You and everyone in the House is on the ballot this fall. We just saw the Democratic National Convention, where Vice President Harris was forceful in her attacks against former President Trump on abortion and foreign policy. What did you make of her performance, and what do you expect in the final stretch of this campaign?
What's so amazing about what occurred at the Democratic National Convention, it is completely thwarting the democratic process. No one has gone to any poll and voted for Kamala Harris to be the presidential candidate for the Democrats. Literally, a small group of people decided that she would be the candidate after Joe Biden stepped aside, and the Democratic Party was told that she will be the candidate. Mm-hmm. I would have expected some recognition that she had stepped in, that she is unlike any other candidate in my lifetime who has run for president with having not one ballot be casted for her to do so. But she had a tough job that night when she gave her speech for the Democratic National Convention, because when she took the stage, she had to make strong statements that were against the very policy choices that she had pursued. She made strong statements that she will be for security at the border when she has been the opposite. She has stated that she's going to be supportive of our men and women in uniform and our national security, when in fact it's been the opposite. Her statements on the border were so casually cast, as if the American public don't know that nearly 10 million people have walked across the border, aided by this administration. What we are going to see, if there is, a Kamala policy objectives, is a complete contrast to what we know we're going to get with a Harris presidency. Not only will she be more of what Joe Biden has been in inflation, difficulties with the economy, weakened national security, open border, she will be even more so. Throughout her time as vice president, she's made it clear that she is to the left of Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's left policies are what's really causing struggle for America right now.
It's striking, considering that she was not a candidate during the primaries, that we haven't seen much of her besides highly scripted teleprompter campaign events. What about doing interviews? What about a free-flowing news conference to get answers for the American people?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no scrutiny whatsoever to what she's saying. I mean, even just being held accountable with the basic question of, well, what do you mean by that? She has no expression of her thought or her substantive views on what she's campaigning on to be president of the United States. I mean, this is unprecedented in any election. I mean, she's not running for governor. She's not running for mayor. She's running for president of the United States. And not one person has gone to a poll and chosen her to be the candidate.
Finally, I'm sure the Trump campaign's wondering when her campaign honeymoon will end. A critical point in this campaign will be when Harris and Trump debate on stage. Your thoughts on what the former president needs to do when he gets that moment with lots of people paying attention after Labor Day?
Well, I think he needs to let her talk. I mean, the more she talks, we know the more word salad you get, the more unreal it is that she would even be the candidate. She doesn't have an ability to articulate complex policies, complex positions, and to reconcile them with the failure of the Biden administration's policy. Since she has not been talking to the American public, as you had indicated, other than very restricted environments, this is an opportunity for her, uninterrupted, to have the difficulty of her own policies in contrast to what the American public need and want.
He is the chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Mike Turner of Ohio. It's great to speak with you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you. Take care.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The November election now fast approaching. Trump and Harris in the trenches. Will there be an October surprise?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
When it's important to you,
they always discuss the most important topics.
It's on News Talk STL.
I accept your nomination.
It is so much better to be for something rather than against something.
The nightmare for Harris is to defend her policy choices.
News, analysis, opinion.
We've agreed with ABC on September 10th.
We face a choice.
We have to get back to asking questions about policy.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
My talk station.
News Talk STL.
Couldn't be easier because everything's ready to go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox.
In Fox News.
It's the latest when you need it on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. Look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Monday, August 26th. This is the Fox News Rundown. The White House says it is working around the clock to try to secure a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan giving an update Sunday.
We have remained in continuous contact with our Israeli counterparts at all levels. And they have shared with us how they see the situation. We've shared with them how we see it, and we tried to coordinate as closely as possible.
No agreement reached over the weekend. Talks expected to continue. And House lawmakers are taking action on the Trump assassination attempt investigation.
The bipartisan task force investigating the assassination attempt on former President Trump will visit the site in Pennsylvania where the shooting took place. More than 10 House members will meet with officials and get an on-site tour. Back in D.C., a counterforum will take place involving a group of lawmakers not included on the task force. Two of them, combat veterans Corey Mills of Florida and Eli Crane of Arizona, both Republicans, lobbied to be on the task force and have expressed their frustrations with not being selected. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
Is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Colombo and Company.
Conventions in the past, RFK Jr. is on Team Trump. Debates are coming soon, and we've got you covered on all of it. On Monday, Virginia Kruta joins us at 2:20 and Mike McCleary at 3:05.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We'll start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia? Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstan. Yeah. And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Monday, there is an old pop song by the group The Grassroots called Live for Today. Remember that? The refrain says, and don't worry about tomorrow. Wow, that is really bad advice. A successful life requires thought about the future, preparation, vision, goals. If you don't think about those things, you will likely live a life of chaos. This is a difficult time for human beings to exist. Lots of pressure, lots of competition. We are not stagecoach drivers here in America. So you've got to get a plan, Stan, as Paul Simon once said. And I am seeing a lot of young Americans drifting, not disciplined enough to think about the future. They feel they are entitled to success. They are invulnerable, and they will just kind of flounce along and things will fall into place for them. That will not happen. You have to think and plan for the future. You have to discipline yourself to make good decisions if you want a happy life. Now this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. The heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
They came from every corner of the country, from small towns and big cities. But they all shared one thing in common. They belonged to a family called Marines. A tough and determined few dedicated to protecting everything we hold sacred. And still, they come. Celebrate the history of those proud few who have earned the title Marine.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Hope you had a great weekend. I'm going to start off with some really good news. We are now in the post-conventions part of the election season. Hey, that's a good thing. I will take it. No more of these silly coronation parties, which is really all these things were. Very, very expensive coronation parties. But now we get into the final stretch of the campaign. What is that going to look like? And not even just on the presidential race. What's that going to look like for all the congressional races, Illinois side, Missouri side, statewide races, Missouri side, obviously all the local races? Well, expect it to get pretty hard-hitting and pretty ugly. We'll get into that a little bit later on today. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Monday with you. We did kind of look ahead at the next legislative session on the Missouri side because in a pretty deep red state like Missouri, we kind of know what the state government's going to look like, even though we still have to go through the elections. And Camellia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, Missouri's chapter, joined us and kind of gave us a preview, not only just of what we think we can get done, but what are the realities of the very likely the incoming governor, Mike Kehoe, who is likely to win that race. And can he rebuild some of those relationships with conservatives? Here's what Camellia had to say.
Who has, I think, the coolest coffee tumbler right there.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's your camera, yeah.
It's the Don't Tread on Me.
Yes.
Bright yellow, I will punch you right in your authoritarianism.
Oh, when I get home, my wife's going to ask me where you got that.
So I can tell you where I got this. I did not get it in Missouri initially, but I've had one before. I had to get another one because the other one was wearing out. But you can get these at the Buc-ee's in Springfield. So if you're down, these are at Buc-ee's.
I am going to be in Springfield in October, so I will check out for that.
Thank you. Speaking of Springfield, I got to ask you, since you're up here from Springfield, did you bring us a pie from the Village Inn?
I did not, but no. Let me tell you though, if you want pie, I will make you a pie. Sometimes you do not need pie from the Village Inn.
Wow. Okay. All right. There's a Village Inn in Kansas City.
The gauntlet has been thrown down. I love it.
All right. So Camellia, first of all, great to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. We know. I mean, I know we're supposed to say, hey, we still haven't had the elections. I don't want to get out ahead of ourselves. We know who the statewide officers are going to be in the state. That's just the reality of it.
Much.
For the most part, we know what the state legislature is going to look like, although there is a chance that the guy who would be speaker, he's got a tight race.
Yes.
In Lee Summit in Jackson County. So there could be some structural differences in the Republican leadership. So with that, we've got some variables out there. But when you look at the things that have been done, the conservative things that have been done, we've been frustrated with it. Mm-hmm. We think there could be more stuff done, more free market stuff, more conservative stuff. When you look at what's coming in, what did voters tell the Republican nominees in August around the state? If there is any kind of message for them to take, what would that be?
Well, so, the primary results were very mixed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how to really explain a lot of things yet.
Yeah.
But that said, I do think that there were some common themes among several of the candidates that I think that we will see, hopefully, I'm optimistic, more momentum on in this session than we have before. And a couple of those things have to do with things that we talk about all the time on education reform and taxes.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that I'm more optimistic about that is, Mike Kehoe will be the next governor.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day in an interview, when he was asked about kind of the general election being more about issues, the two issues that he mentioned were education reform and wanting parents to have more choices and, money following the child. And then the other one was eliminating the income tax. And he said he feels like they have a pretty solid plan to get that done in a, gradual manner, kind of like we're doing now.
Yeah, that was kind of a new one
Yes.
for Lieutenant Governor Kehoe. And Mike Kehoe, I think it would behoove him to strengthen or rebuild bridges with some of the conservatives in the state.
Mm-hmm.
He is a conservative guy.
Right.
Was he the most conservative? No, I don't think he was, but he is conservative.
Right.
And so I'm actually encouraged to hear that. Now it's going to be a matter of he is the leader.
Right.
So lead and get it done.
Well, that was always the question, was like, how much would he prioritize some of these things? So that was why it was encouraging to hear that he listed those two things, because what we've said all along in, the fact that we've been able to get very little school choice done in Missouri, right? Is that the difference between Missouri and all these other states around us who have been getting it done is that they have governors who lead on the issue.
Mm-hmm. So if you had the governor's ear, then he's like, what? It's like, okay, this is the way to go. This is the way to execute.
Mm-hmm.
This is how to get your stated priorities done.
Sure. Well, I think that we saw, for a Governor Kehoe, I think we saw a good indication of what might happen with the SB 727 bill, the education bill from the last session, because he was 100% responsible for that passing.
Explain what that means, because that's some behind the scenes stuff on it.
Right.
And that bill, we know there are some warts on it. It was not anywhere near a perfect bill. I look at it as a kind of a baby step.
Yeah, for sure.
At best in the right direction. But explain that to people behind the behind the scenes aspect.
Sure. Well, Kehoe has been an advocate of education reform for a very long time. This is not new for him. But what he did on that bill was he really did a lot of persuasion with folks who are normally no votes. And so I think that he is somewhat unique in that he brings a lot of different people to the table, people who are from more rural areas, legislators who have not necessarily always been open to, all of the school choice in the ways that we would like to see it, right? Mm-hmm. Limited support for open enrollment, but not even that most of the time. So I think, by virtue of his position and his relationships with him, that they will be more amenable to at least listening to the arguments.
Okay, so when we look at some of the other things, as far as regulations, I mean, one of the best things I think a state government could do is say, let's be competitive by reducing regulations, encouraging entrepreneurs, encouraging innovation, and obviously any talk of reducing taxes is going to be attractive to businesses and obviously to homeowners as well. What's realistic this year? Because, when you look at, if the Democrats make any gains, we know they're going to pick up Caleb Rowden's seat, and that's going to go to Stephen Weber. So that's going to be a Republican seat that's going to be Democrat in central Missouri. Republicans are going to lose that one. I don't know what's going to happen in the House. My guess is that we're probably going to come around about the same numbers, although I think the Democrats might make a pickup in the Senate, maybe two. Mm-hmm. So the Republicans are going to have a big majority, but not the super majority, or they're at risk of not having a super majority, which means they actually have to do stuff now.
Well, I was going to say the super majority has not been a guarantee of getting things done, right?
Yes.
But I would like to point out, when you talk about regulation, last session, we actually got a really big thing done in terms of deregulation that a lot of people are not talking about. And it was called sandbox legislation, right? Yep. And so basically it allows people who are doing new things with their businesses, entrepreneurs, innovators to, and it's universal sandbox. It's not just one industry or, one type of business. So they're able to come in and try new things without all of the regulatory burdens on them. There's oversight, right? But for a limited amount of time. And this is a good way for us to see, for the government to see, like, if there are regulations that are on the books that we don't need to have there anymore, let's get rid of them.
Another sort of little known aspect of the regulatory issues that we have for entrepreneurs and things like that is all this licensing, right? People were being required to get licenses for things that don't make sense or just, there's the craziness there that creates an impediment to entrepreneurship. Is there any talk about something underneath the surface about dealing with that?
So I haven't heard much yet, but then, a lot of the legislators that got elected in the primaries, I mean, they just had summer caucus. I mean, there's not been a whole lot of talk about that yet. I will say that it's also because people don't it's not a popular hot
it
topic.
is. It's very wonky.
It's not
it is
sexy.
Right.
That's right.
And
It's not a
that's
sexy
actually,
topic.
and that's one of the things I would point out to your listeners is that, politicians, the reality is they do respond to what is in the public conversation and public momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they actually do need to hear from you on some of these kind of boring things that affect, have a very real impact on your everyday lives. But, I do think that it's promising because we have seen some movement before in terms of when you talk about reducing licensing and also, people who are coming from another state who've been licensed in another state being able to, do that
reciprocity.
here. Right.
Yeah, which we learned was crucial, unfortunately, after the Joplin tornado. Because it was like nurses and doctors weren't allowed legally to rush in and help. They had to go through a process. So they're like, whoa, we need some reciprocity for some of these. And then we said, well, why not have reciprocity for other things? If a guy knows how to fix a leaking, pipe in Oklahoma, he's going to know how to do it here in Missouri, or she.
They use the same book.
Exactly.
They do.
Okay. So for Americans for Prosperity, as you're looking ahead to the 2025 session, you've mentioned education reform. What's going to be the top one or two things on the agenda that you say, okay, we can get this done to move the state in a more free market, more limited government, more conservative direction?
Sure. So education reform and eliminating the income tax are two of our top issues. Yep. So to hear Lieutenant Governor Kehoe talk about that is exciting, right? So we will certainly be doing everything that we can to elevate that message and to advance that conversation. And we'll be looking at the legislation that comes out. Just like it's not always all good, right? We need to do it in the right way, especially when it comes to education reform. And we also, we need to look at, money following the child, but we also need to take into consideration, the very real concerns of what's going on in the public school system as well.
Oh, without a doubt. All right. Website, social media, what's the way to do it?
Yeah. Look for us. The easiest way is look for AFP Missouri on any of the socials. We're Instagram, X, and Facebook.
All right, we're going to get that first news dump of the day going in just about 2 minutes and 41 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What citizen wouldn't want to make America great again?
Live and local.
You lose Dixon Notch. Yeah. You lost America.
I saw it etched on coins.
This is News Talk STL.
Seavers JCB is where you need to go for the industry's best compact track loaders, featuring the iconic single-arm JCB power boom and side door entry. JCB compact track loaders are stronger and safer than conventional twin-arm machines, and they deliver the power and performance you need. For a limited time, get financing rates as low as 0.99% on new JCB compact track loaders, or take a generous cash incentive. Stop into your local Seavers JCB or visit SeaversJCB.com.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
On my bingo card for today, I did not expect Girl School from Brittany Fox.
Well, you always get a surprise on the bingo card.
That's a great riff. All right, is that war in the Middle East about to break out and expand? We've been kind of bracing ourselves for it for over a week now. Also, an update on Officer Travis Brown, who has strangely fallen out of the headlines for the most part. We're going to bring you back in, and then later on today, an unusual take on who would you prefer, Donald or Kamala? And I'm not talking about the White House.
Okay.
It's one of those lists.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now that your answer might be Kamala on some things. All right, we'll do that. Do that a little bit later on today. Right now it's 5:50. Let's dump some news on you.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, one thing you don't want Kamala for is border security. The Biden-Harris administration losing track of over 320,000 children brought across the border illegally. I'm going to say that number again. 320,000 children crossed the border without their parents, according to a new report released by the Homeland Security Inspector General. Senator Mike Lee was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo reacting to that news of that report.
It's hard to lose 320,000 children. I'll note with a degree of cynicism here that the Department of Homeland Security has acknowledged that these children have a higher than average risk of being subjected to trafficking. You think? Look, that's the whole way they came into this country. It's the one thing they all have in common. They were all trafficked.
Now, as of May of this year, there were 291,000 children who were brought into the U.S. as unaccompanied minors. In other words, trafficked into this country, who were set free and never given a date to appear in court. Minors, children, with no way to track their whereabouts. Now that number is around $320,000. And by the way, trafficking a lot of the times does mean sex trafficking, but also you could be looking at forced slave labor as well. All right. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. and allies are working to prevent an escalating regional conflict in the Middle East. Have you noticed this is the theme? Something happens, Israel defends itself. Well, we got to put the kibosh on that, right? Well, there are concerns of more violence in the area after Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah traded heavy fire early Sunday. Sullivan says negotiators are trying to get some stability to the region. And of course, he says, it's for all of those involved.
We are feverishly working in Cairo as we speak with our team and the teams of the other mediators, as well as with the Israelis, to get to a ceasefire and hostage deal along the framework that President Biden laid out, to get calm between Israel and along that border between Israel and Lebanon.
Okay, so those talks in Cairo are designed to bring a ceasefire deal to the Israel-Hamas war. They do not have a deal at this point. A U.S. official in on those talks says negotiations are continuing throughout the week. It seems to me if they're actually really serious about ending the fighting and ending the war, they'll just get out of the way and let Israel defeat their enemy.
We're 10 months out from when the incident happened last October.
Yeah, we're coming up on a year. Man. And the U.S. it looks to me like our politics has slowed down Israel's ability to just simply wipe the floor with their enemies. Which is what should happen. And by the way, you've got Bernie Sanders going off on saying that we shouldn't give another nickel. Israel had a right to the initial defense, but they don't have a right to do what they're doing now. the guy's just a garbage human being.
Yeah, just go back and eat your Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, precisely, and just go away forever. All right, Ferguson police officer Travis Brown remains in a coma. Now, that is according to his family. More than 2 weeks after a Michael Brown-inspired protester caused the traumatic brain injury, there are small signs of improvement in Officer Brown's condition. Once again, that's reports coming from the family. The family says the sedatives that are being used on him right now could be reduced in the coming days, and apparently that's a very good sign, is what they're saying. Community fundraiser to benefit him and his family raised $20,000 on Saturday. A GoFundMe has been set up, and I actually checked that just a little bit ago. It's now raised over $150,000 for him and his family, and their goal is $200,000. I think we probably ought to link that a little bit later on today. I know we have already, but it might be a good thing to sort of re-up that. And understand with this type of injury, there's a very good chance that Travis Brown is not returning to the beat.
Yeah,
as a
sadly,
police officer. Yeah.
you're right.
I mean, maybe he will. Maybe he'll make a full recovery. I mean, that's what we can absolutely hope for. It's possible, but we're talking about life altering, and there's only so much that the police pension and the long-term insurance is going to cover. So the reality is that you're not going to be able to raise money for him 5 years from now or 10 years from now. There'll be 100 other news stories, 200, 500 news stories between now and then. So if you want to help his family, this is the time to do it.
And if he does return to the police force, it probably would be in an office job.
Right. Yeah. Which might be the best case scenario. You know, I mean, we'll see. But I suspect from those who know him, I've never met him, but from those who know him that I have talked to or who I have talked to, they say that what he really wants to do is to be out there back on the beat again. So hopefully something will miraculously happen.
Yeah. Everything that I've seen about him is that he's a great guy.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I've been told.
Continued prayers for him.
Yep. All right. Gas prices dropped 9 cents over the past 2 weeks. Got a new national average of $3.43 a gallon. That's a drop of 18 cents from 6 weeks ago and 53 cents from a year ago. Oil industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says the reasons for the drop include the end of summer travel season. Basically, we get a little bit of a drop at every year this time, and a return to full capacity at refineries in Illinois and in Ohio. Those were limited because of weather. And Trilby Lundberg adds that the additional seasonal reason could actually end up driving prices a little bit lower in the coming weeks.
We may have another nickel or more in declines coming from the mid-September allowable lower cost for gasoline, as refiners will no longer have to make summer blend.
Yeah, that summer blend is more expensive to manufacture, and that is an environmental requirement regulation that's added every single year. So the fact that we can get rid of that is always going to help. Okay, Cardinals get another series win yesterday's 3-2 win over the Twins confirmed that after splitting the first two games of the series. Victor Scott II, that is not a baseball name. Can I just point out that is not a baseball name?
Sounds like an actor.
Yeah, it does. It does. But anyway, he had a home run. Lars Nootbaar drove in the tying and the go-ahead runs in the top of the ninth inning, and then obviously the Cardinals held on. Redbirds road trip continues in San Diego today. They play the Padres at 6:45. Kyle Gibson pitching for the good guys in this one. Compared to where we were on Friday, the Cardinals have neither lost nor gained ground in the division. They are still 10 games behind the Brewers. That is a long way to make up in the games that are still out there. It can be done, but it's a big lift. If they're going to do it, they got to start moving like yesterday.
You got to play above 600 ball.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We, the people, will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
101.9 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL.
At Side & Sugar Nobi Partners, we know the value of hard work, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or homeowner, we have the solution for you. Our John Deere compact tractor packages are reliable machines built to tackle any task on your property. With low monthly payments and finance options, SN Partners makes it easier than ever to bring home the power you need. Visit snpartners.com for more information. Side & Sugar Nobi, your partner for the land.
Hello, this is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Jared, along with 12 other U.S. military personnel, were killed August 26, 2021 at Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan. In honor of the 13, I would like for you and every American-loving patriot to join me and my family on the Angels of Abbey Gate Memorial Ride and Shootout, Saturday, September 7th. For details and to pre-register, go to thefreedom13.org. All vehicles are welcome. We look forward to seeing you.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The war in Ukraine, which has never really cooled off, is growing hotter still this morning. Russia unleashing a massive drone and missile barrage across Ukraine and appears to be targeting energy infrastructure and has killed at least 3 people. And there's been other action lately as well.
Russia and Ukraine have traded deadly attacks as Moscow sends more reinforcements to its Kursk region to push back Ukrainian troops. 5 people were killed in Ukrainian shelling in Russia's border region of Belgorod. Kyiv has been increasing its strikes inside Russian territory after launching a surprise ground offensive into Russia's Kursk region 2 weeks ago. Humanitarian aid is urgently being delivered to the thousands of Russians who were evacuated from Kursk and are now displaced.
Correspondent Nayon Kim. Backing away from the brink of a wider Middle East war, fire between Israel and Lebanese-based Hezbollah has subsided, at least for now, each side claiming victory in this latest exchange of fire. The Trump campaign pushing back on Democrats' warnings that a Republican victory would result in more restrictions on abortion.
At their convention last week, Democrats hammered Donald Trump on abortion. Some of them warned that the former president would issue a nationwide ban in a second term. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance said Trump would not support a national abortion ban and told NBC's Meet the Press that he would veto such legislation if passed by Congress. But that statement is not sitting well with pro-life groups. The Family Research Council's Tony Perkins said, "God have mercy on this nation if this is now the position of what was the pro-life party." Greg Clugston, Washington.
Sudan's health ministry says heavy rainfall has collapsed a dam in the eastern Red Sea state. Local media reports dozens of people are missing. On Wall Street, the Dow futures up 29 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. The
heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Company, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
This is the kind of adventure I usually have to force upon us, and here it is, falling into our laps.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
They're buying it.
Get up!
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Watch a couple squats, son.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, Elon Musk to the rescue. Where's that coming from? Was that me? Okay. Elon Musk to the rescue in space. In space.
There I go.
There you are. Hey.
Hi. I'm here. I thought I turned your mic on before. It's a sticky button.
It's a sticky button.
Sorry.
All right, we'll get to that here in a second.
It's Monday.
Yeah. By the way, MAGA pretty excited about the RFK Jr. endorsement, which we knew was coming on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to make as much of a difference electorally as a lot of you all think, but we'll see. I could be wrong on that. Let's talk about it around 6:20.
Okay.
We already had some people on social media saying, "Hey, you going to talk about this?" Sure.
Yes, we're going to talk about it.
We'll talk about it. All right, real quick. I mentioned Officer Travis Brown. I wanted to get into that for just a couple of minutes, if for no other reason than he's falling off the headlines. And that's part of the news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I also think a lot of the media, they do not want to keep him in the headlines around in St. Louis because they are sympathetic to the BLM types and to
absolutely.
the Antifa types. And they still try to carry the water for the hands up, don't shoot nonsense. I mean, just this past Thursday, a couple of the TV stations were showing, this Ferguson, 10 voices of Ferguson 10 years later.
Oh, they're still going with it.
They're still doing all that garbage. So, this really hurts their dishonest narrative.
Yeah. And the narrative must be protected. That's whenever you have a question about why is the media doing X, Y, or Z, it's the narrative must be protected.
Right. And I think that's what we're seeing with this. So with Travis Brown, his family's putting out updates both to the media and there is some coverage of it, but I can just see them trying to push this off in the headlines. He is still in a coma. This is over 2 weeks later. By the way, the longer you're in a coma, the worse it's going to be. There's going to be a lot of muscle atrophy. There's going to be a lot of nerve endings atrophy, all this sort of things that happens. And this is a really big, strong guy. You've seen the pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so
he looks like the quintessential policeman.
Yeah,
he really does.
Exactly.
It's like this is what you want most police to look like, basically.
Yeah, it's like if you saw those 70s and 80s like after school special things, and it's like, what are you gonna do about it? Well, me and my buddy here, and you point back to him, and then the bad guy's like, okay, I'm out of here, And so they're talking about possibly starting to reduce the sedatives. So I don't know if this means he is in a medically induced coma or he's in a coma because of the traumatic brain injury.
Okay, so they're trying to
to
determine how bad it is.
Right.
Okay.
But the idea that they could start lowering some of those sedatives apparently is a good sign, according to a lot of people, according to the coverage, at least according to the family. So here's the thing on this as well. I can just tell you, because I've been covering the news, I've been around it so long, is that if you are going to want to help his family, now's the time to do it. Here's why I say that. Let's say he, makes a recovery, whether it's a full recovery or whatever a full recovery is going to look like for him. It's very possible that he is not going to be back out on the streets on patrol because of the severity of this injury that he had at the hands of these Michael Brown, type of protesters. And the reality is that 3 months from now, he will be forgotten.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
By everybody. That's not the way it should be, but that's the way it's going to be. There's going to be hundreds of other news stories between now and then.
And there's no way the media is going to go back and say, hey, revisiting the issues with Officer Brown here.
Right.
So they're never going to do a retrospective on this.
Right, precisely. So there'll be a blip when he gets out of the hospital.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, somebody will put some video up and that's going to be about it. And so we'll do our best to kind of keep it, on your radar as possible. But at some point we move on to other things in the news story. I hate to be so cold about it, but that's just the way that it goes. The reason I bring that up is because he's on everybody's minds right now. And so if you're going to support him, now's the time to do it.
Yes.
And actually, let me look at the GoFundMe. It was at 151,000 this morning. The first time I looked at it, $151,301 have been raised, and the goal is $200,000 to help him and his family. And you may say, well, why? He's got a job. Okay, well, the pension and the long-term insurance, whatever kicks in, is only going to go so far, and they're going to need a lot of help. That's just not going to be covered with his benefits with the police department. And he's got, some small kids and everything. So I just wanted to make sure that we kept that kind of on everybody's radar.
Okay, I think I'll go ahead and post a link on that.
Let's do that.
When I get a chance here.
I'm going to put this. I'm going to link it right now on the Rumble chat box,
Mm-hmm.
like as we speak. This is the one we know has been vetted. Okay, there it is right there.
Okay.
I just did that one. So we know that's the good one.
All right, I'll put that one up on our other socials a little later in the morning here.
Yep. And I'm going to make a donation too. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to go and do that this morning here in the next information segment. So just wanted to put that out there so that we make sure that we're following through with that. $200,000 is a lot of money, but it doesn't go that long when you're talking about entire life changes with him. And so I think that's a very reasonable amount that they asked for.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, they could easily ask for $1 million and it still wouldn't cover the things that are going to be necessary for his full recovery.
Yeah, I mean, we
as far as his recovery can take him.
Yeah, I mean, we raised more than that. I say we because all of us, I think, here threw something in for Janae Edmondson. So if we could do it for her, we can do it for him as well. All right. There are some astronauts stranded in outer space. Talk about the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And so NASA is having trouble figuring out how to get them back. This is really bad. I mean, again, this is like a science fiction horror movie. Stranded in space.
Yeah, well, it's very much reminiscent of a sort of an Apollo 13 sort of situation. If anybody's ever seen that movie, it's a great movie, by the way.
Oh, it is.
You should need to see it. Tom Hanks,
Yep. And
top of his game. But it's based on real events, the Apollo 13 events. It's basically if and when there are mishaps in space, your resources are kind of limited. You have what you have, and sometimes the triple redundancies don't work out. And now you have to figure out how to get back home safely. And guess what, guys? It is literal rocket science.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now I believe the situation is that unless you have it there, the situation is that the module, it's retro rockets, Probably some of the other maneuvering thrusters, the things it needs to navigate in space are not firing. They're not capable of firing the way they need to in order to maneuver to have a safe landing. So they need to, and they don't have the resources on hand to fix it. So they need to get into a different module. Hopefully the SpaceX module will be able to link up with them and they can transfer a crew. One of the problems with that, though, is that the spacesuits that the NASA has are different than the spacesuit that SpaceX uses.
Because Elon says, "I'm sending SpaceX. I'm going to go get them."
Right. Yeah. So hopefully, I think all of this discussion though will help lead to them sending up the SpaceX module with whatever they need for compatibility issues or to make all these adjustments. It's on some level. There's a scene in Apollo 13 where they dump a box of stuff onto a table in front of a bunch of rocket scientists and say, hey, okay, this is what they have on hand on the module. So figure out how to get them home safely. Now, this is better because we're able to send SpaceX is going to be able to send a rocket to intercept. And so that means we can bring stuff with us. So part of this discussion isn't just going to be this is what we have in the module. It's going to be, okay, this is our problem to make slot X fit into circle Y. Okay, what's the adapter going to look like? Okay, they could probably actually these days build it using 3D printed metal parts and all kinds of things, and just send it up that way. So now they want to dot all their I's and cross all their T's before they go this time around. But I'm confident it's all going to work out. It's just going to be a kind of a debacle in the meantime. I'd hate to be on the team needed to do that.
Yeah, because they're talking this is February. Is the best case scenario.
Yeah,
I mean we're not talking like this week.
Yeah. Launch windows and all these other issues kind of dictate when your deadlines are when it comes to space travel. So we'll see.
I'm sure the casual viewer is thinking that's 6 months away still. So why would it take 6 months to work it out to get somebody up there to get them?
Yeah. So you have launch windows. So, because the Earth is spinning,
mm-hmm.
the module is spinning around Earth,
mm-hmm.
and basically in space, everything is moving. Everything is moving constantly and very, very fast. So you're trying to hit a bullet with a bullet 1,000,000 miles away. Just think of it that way. That's general space science.
It's kind of like weather forecasting.
Yes,
you got stuff spinning and it's moving at high speed.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So just making sure that your window, the time that makes the most sense for intercept is one thing that will set a deadline. And then of course you want to give yourself enough time for prep. It's just standard prep for putting put it this way, the rocket that's going to send up the SpaceX module is basically a skyscraper filled with rocket fuel. So there's a lot going on.
You have to get a crew together.
You got to get the crew together. You have to prep the launch site, the craft, and all the other good stuff. So there's a lot going on. I think they have it under control. So I'm not worried about the lives of the crew, but it's still a little dicey.
It's really scary.
It's a little dicey.
And I keep thinking, how much food do they store on the ISS?
Yeah, they've got enough for they bring enough for their mission and then some.
Right.
So and their missions have tended to be in the order of like months and months and months.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so they've got a pretty decent food store, I think.
All right, it is 6:16 right now. 314-912-1019. I just mentioned the RFK Jr. thing, and it's already getting a lot of discussion on social media, which, I'll read some of those, but feel free to call 314-912-1019. It's a talk show. Let's talk. I am still not convinced that the RFK Jr. thing itself is as big of a deal electorally as other people, I think they are, but it is showing possibly a directional signal from Donald Trump and his campaign. Is it good? Is it bad? Let's talk about that right around 6:20 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Before you blow us all away, you wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
What are you waiting for?
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Calling all patriots. Join us for an unforgettable evening celebrating America's greatness at the Patriots Banquet. Honor our veterans, support our first responders, and meet Hollywood tough guy Marshall Teague, the infamous Jimmy Reno from Roadhouse. September 7th at 333 Vineyard in Washington, Missouri. Tickets include dinner and open bar. Upgrade to VIP for exclusive cocktails with Marshall. All proceeds support the Washington Guard's emergency response efforts. Reserve your spot now at thewashingtonguard.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
We're actually going to talk to Tim here in about 45 minutes or so. Curious about his take on where we are with the races, because the DNC set the tone for the Democrats pretty much up and down the ballot, not even just in the presidential race.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Democrats, they're like, this time we can win that U.S. Senate seat. Josh Hawley's vulnerable. He's not. But they think he is. They're like, we got the guy for it.
That's cute.
But it's going to be interesting to see. We'll talk about that. All right, fine. Let's talk about this RFK thing. Sheesh. All right. By the way, Newstalk STL's app, if you haven't downloaded that, please go ahead and do that. Take us anywhere you want. Again, we are well aware that between 101.9 FM and 94.1 FM, there's a few little deserts here and there in the metro area. So get that app, and you don't have to worry about it at all. Just get the app. You can Bluetooth it or just play us through your phone and take us everywhere you want. All right. Got a few comments on social media already on this, because Rebecca was asking earlier, hey, you going to talk about the RFK endorsement? Yep.
Yeah.
So here we go on this 314-912-1019. I'm trying to just kind of lay it all out there, because to me, it's less about RFK Jr. himself, as I think we're seeing an indication of where Donald Trump might be ready to go with his campaign on this. But on Fox News, was this Fox News Sunday? Yeah, on Fox News Sunday, RFK Jr. was a guest, and he talked about his decision to suspend his campaign and get behind Donald Trump.
When Ross Perot ran, in the 10 months that he ran, he had 34 appearances on the networks. I had 2 appearances in 16 months. So I was blocked out from the networks. I was blocked out from the debate. I had no path to victory.
Yeah, and that's actually his voice, so that's not a bad connection or anything. He's got a voice thing that happens. Okay, so he knows he's not going to win. We all knew he was not going to win. So he gets on board with Trump. Electorally, I am not convinced that this makes a big difference when you look state by state by state by state. RFK Jr. is a leftist. I mean, he's on the left. I mean, I know there's some crossover on the vaccine thing and whatnot, but he's on the left. He is pro-abortion. He is anti-Second Amendment. He's a big government guy. So what kind of effect, and why do you think people are getting so excited kind of in the MAGA camp about it? Let me kind of put that out there first.
Now, as best as I can tell, the only thing I can put together is that he's bringing up the rear in terms of the anti-Harris vote. the anti-Democrat established vote.
Right.
And so he was providing them an alternative to the machine that a lot of Democrats are tired of. And of course the forever war stuff, all of that has ginned up a significant bit of political following on the left among those people. And they view Harris basically as another one of the puppets for the machine. So if he could garner any portion of that vote, it would conceivably benefit the Republicans over the Democrats. I'm not sure how big of an effect it is, though, in the grand scheme of things. I've seen some people say, okay, it's basically, a nothing burger. And then a number of people say, well, we're seeing, a net gain in some of these battleground states of anywhere between 0.5% to 8% or to 2%. And in some of those battleground states, that could actually be
2% would be huge.
2% would be huge. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think it's still yet to be determined. I think it's way too early, especially given the post DNC bump that we have yet to clear. Because at some point we come off of the post convention bump for whatever the party's dealing with. So then I think the polling is going to be a little more clear as polling can get.
Yeah. I find it interesting that he is staying on the ballots, except in battleground states. He's pulling himself off the battleground state ballots.
If you've qualified for it, it takes a court order to get off those.
Well, he's going
He's
for
going
it.
to try to get the
Yeah.
court order then.
He's going to try to get himself off the ballot in the battleground
Because like in
states.
Missouri, I mean, unless he, the law is pretty clear. You're qualified. You're on.
Yeah, but we're not a battleground state.
Missouri's not anywhere near a battleground state.
So if he's looking at Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania,
Arizona,
Georgia.
Yeah.
If he wants to get himself off of those ballots, then I'd say go for it. He feels, and I agree, that he got screwed by the Democratic Party. And there's just no doubt that I can't imagine how difficult it is for him going through this, but I'm all on board.
Yeah, Rebecca actually says something similar to that. She says, I'm against RFK Jr., but his speech revealed the complete corruption of the Democrats with the media and every institution taking our rights. So yeah, she's kind of where you are.
His speech basically suspending his campaign. Yeah, made it clear. What you said, Stel, that his effort, his intention is to get off as many battleground state ballots as he can. Now, of course, that's all state law. That's all state law
by state.
Yeah, so
he might be able to do it in some states.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so he's he said if you're in a non-battleground, he said it explicitly. If you're in a non-battleground state, please vote for me because it'll show the Democrats what for, essentially, or whoever you're against. I mean, he actually did make a bipartisan play on in that regard. He's like, hey, if you're in a state where it's not going to make a difference, I'm your protest vote guy. He's like, so throw all your protest votes towards me. But yeah, he did make it clear in the battleground states he wants all of those votes to go to Trump.
I think back to his uncle's statement: "Ask not what you can do for ask not what your country can do for you. You ask what you can do for your country."
Right.
I believe he's taken that to heart, and it's going to make things very difficult for him, especially family-wise. But I think he feels as though I've got to be true to what my principles are and where I stand, and this is where I am, and I'm going with it.
Okay, so I don't like all of his principles. I'm saying that leads to my next question. Is he said there are going to be more Democrats crossing over, and they're talking about a unity party and then a unity government. And I think a lot of MAGA, of course, again, this is a very populist movement, are like, yes, great. This is showing we're going to win. And maybe you will. I don't know. But I've asked I just posed the question on Rumble. I said, is anybody concerned that so far what we've seen from a coalition building has been reaching to the left and seemingly pushing away from the conservatives, from the Trump campaign? I mean, Project 2025, which, by the way, there's always one of these. The liberals and the conservatives always have one of these to hand to a new president. This is nothing new. But Trump has thrown this under the bus over and over, when what he should be doing is reading it and taking it to heart, but he's, slamming it. He's obviously pushing away from pro-life position. He and his family have basically rewritten the RNC's platform. He's talking about economic populism, wanting massive tariffs, which is terrible economics. But he's still excellent on the border. His judicial picks were very good. So, there's good, bad, and ugly with him. But so far, all of the coalition building seems to be towards the left. Is anybody concerned about that?
Oh, I'm very concerned with where the footing of the Republican Party is right now. But I'm glad to see the reaching, if that makes sense. Because right now, if we can stay firmly planted on the right, but reach to the left to kind of drag them over with us, that's basically what the same play as what the Democrats did when they kind of rebranded themselves in the 60s. They reached over and they pulled in a massive coalition, and it allowed them to push all of American politics to the left. If we can essentially replicate that idea, so we're still firmly planted in the conservative movement, but we're reaching over and dragging the country slowly but surely to the right. That's something that we kind of need to do.
Well, I would love to see the country drug to the right,
Mhm.
but do you think that's what Trump's trying to do, or is he trying to say the votes are on the left, I'm going there?
I think he would be a tool in that whole movement, but I don't think that his intentionality is for generational change, but he can certainly be considered sort of an agent for that transition in this period.
Well, if you go back to President Lincoln's time in office, he brought in folks from the other side of the aisle to take care of a lot of the stuff that went on as we got into the Civil War. And that may have been what helped us get through the Civil War, was his reaching out and bringing folks in whom he did not agree with, but he felt that he needed them by his side to try and help him get through that.
It is incumbent on conservatives, though, to still put massive pressure, particularly behind the scenes, if not, overtly, in press releases and things like that, to keep the basis for the Republican Party where it needs to be, because otherwise we could just as easily get dragged over to the left and stay there permanently. Like if we lose our footing and we reach too far, we're gonna fall right into the drink.
Yeah, that's what I worry about, is that we're choosing between leftism and leftism light. That's what I'm worried about.
I think we're choosing between policy and propaganda. And I think policy is where the Republican Party is trying to stand. Propaganda is where the Democratic Party is trying to stand. That's my viewpoint on it. And if that's going to be the fight, okay, bring it on.
I think we're kind of wrestling with the reality that we don't have the home field advantage anymore, or we don't even have a split fan base in America anymore. We're on a mission field, and we have to consider it that way. We're in hostile territory, and one of the things that happens if when missionaries go to places where no one has ever heard or even seen or anything like that, they got to start real slow. They got to start with, okay, let's make sure these people have clean water and can read and things like that, and then they introduce them to this little book. It's almost as though, because the Democrats have had such a stranglehold on our culture, on our education system, that we're dealing with a group of people in America, particularly in the middle, and who have no idea what conservatism really is, and they're propagandized to the hilt so that they can't even respond to conservative principles. So we have to teach them.
All right, I'm watching the Rumble chat box, throwing out some questions here and there. Interesting discussion happening on that. By the way, while you're there, whether it's Rumble or Facebook or Twitter, hit the like thing or hit the heart thing. Please do that. Let's get that momentum going. All right, it is 6:31 right now. All right, I'm going to make the case for looking at the presidential race as less important than a lot of people think it is right now in Missouri and in Illinois in particular.
Yeah.
All right, I know I mentioned this the other day, but I'm going to bring it back up. Here's the question. Which political race are you most invested in right now? All right, let's talk about that. Because I'm going to make the argument that I think there's a lot of people who's most invested in the presidential race, and I don't think that's a real good strategy. We'll talk about that just ahead.
Just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. I don't have to run day. It's just another manic Monday.
Mike
Ferguson in the morning.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. We keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. The heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chamber.
With so much happening.
I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
So much to talk about.
Our Education Secretary flubbing one of Ronald Reagan's iconic lines.
9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
You never want to miss a moment.
There's nothing about this that shows anything good about Hamas.
On air, online, and always on your smart device.
The vast majority of those that were taken captive on that day are still there.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, great. Heat index of over 105 degrees on days that I've got ball games. That's going to be ugly. But you know what else that does? That also puts extra pressure on your home when it comes to maintaining your temperature inside and just the way that it affects your house. That heat really does make a difference. Have you ever been to where it's a situation where it's so hot, you got to stay downstairs? Because you go upstairs, it's just kind of ugly up there. The central air doesn't keep up as much, or my wife and I used to have window units that just didn't keep up as much. Well, part of that has to do with your windows. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less. You know, just this past fall, Energy Star released their new rating system for pretty much everything, and Window World was already ahead of that when it comes to keeping the hot air outside and the cool air inside at times like this and what we're going to experience this week. Call them today, 314-993-1800, because it's not going to be that long before it's just the opposite. It's cold air outside. You want to keep the warm air inside. And if you walk by any of your windows and you see that little bit of moisture, you see that condensation, those little bubbles all over the window, looks like somebody sprayed part of it. Well, that means that your windows are not efficient, that some of that air is getting through it, or they're just so thin, or they've shifted to the point where it's just not keeping up with the temperatures. With Window World, you buy those windows one time, they cost less money. They're the best for less, even though they're double strength windows. And then you've got that energy efficiency that saves you money through the life of your home. And then, by the way, that lifetime warranty means you never have to replace it. That's how confident Window World is. You buy that window, it is good for the life of your home, even when you sell that home to somebody else. Give them a call today, 314-993-1800. Tell them Mike was bragging about them and put them to the test. Get your free in-home estimate. Find out how these made-in-America windows will cost you less and save you money and give you more peace of mind and make it easier on everything from like your HVAC system to just being comfortable in your house. Your windows do so much. 314-993-1800. Once again, tell them Mike was talking about them on the radio. Get that free, no pressure, no obligation in-home estimate. They're not coming to your house expecting you to sign a contract. They just want to show you what they can do for you and then leave it all in your hands and on your timing. Don't forget, Window World, they are the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues, 314-993-1800.
As the daughter of an OBGYN, I learned from a young age that no topic is too taboo for discussion at the dinner table. This family-centered, transparent approach to health and wellness that my dad, you may know him as Dr. Randy Tobler, created for my siblings and I, is what we strive to deliver to our patients at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Sammy Tobler-Gregory with Body of Health, where relationships matter. Come learn about healthcare the way it ought to be and schedule your free discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Are you a St. Louis small business owner looking to boost your brand? Blue Ocean Media Group offers affordable video production that packs a punch. From social media content to branded promotional clips, we'll help you stand out in the digital crowd. Professional quality, small business prices. Let's tell your story together. Learn more at blueomg.com. That's blueomg.com. Blue Ocean Media. Big impact videos for small business budgets.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So finally, the conventions are over. Now we get down to it. Campaigning, debates. We're getting close to November 5. Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal will fill us in Monday morning at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Danny Define here with the Next Gen, all new time this Sunday at 8 p.m. Now pour up a hot cup of coffee and tune back into the Mike Ferguson Show.
All right, which races, and I'm going to encourage you to say around here, are you most interested in? Okay, that's the question I'm posing. Yes, to everybody on social media, but 314-913, I was still giving the window world. 314-912-1019, because I think there's so much energy on the presidential race that I want to point out from a practical matter, there's really not much you can do about that in Missouri and in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still going to worry that there are going to be close races much closer to home that are getting neglected because people want to put so much energy into the presidential race. But people are passionate about the president. This is the world's worst soap opera right now, is what this presidential race is. It is somewhere between a soap opera and a slapstick comedy that if you wrote this script and presented this to a studio, they'd be like, no, nobody would believe that.
There's no way this is going to happen.
That's insane.
You're
There's
talking about
no
what now?
possible way.
Well, it did make it into a script or two of The Simpsons.
That's true.
you know,
Yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019. Don't forget, we've got a great newsletter. And normally I try not to sign up for too many newsletters because that just means that you give up your email address and you get all kinds of junk in your inbox. But we don't do that.
Nope.
So if you go to newstalkstl.com and sign up for our newsletter, you get it usually on Wednesdays. And it takes 3-4 minutes to read it. You're going to have articles written for that newsletter, some from some of the best conservative news sources out there, an audio clip of the week that you may or may not have heard, exclusive cartoon from Todd Showalter.
Mhm.
It's just a lot of fun. It's completely free. And no, we do not shop around Gmail address. That's just our way to get that out to you. And then also in the newsletter is where a lot of those station event announcements come as well. So be sure to check that out. All right, 6:40 right now. Okay, so I understand the drama. I understand people caught up with the personalities of the presidential race. I mean, I could probably every show do a quarter of every show on the presidential race. And when there's something big that happens, absolutely. But so many people are just caught up in the personalities of it.
Oh yeah.
And the world is going to end kind of thinking on this, which by the way, I don't subscribe to. We've survived bad presidents before. But I'm also looking at, we've got statewide races in Illinois and Missouri. We've got congressional races in Illinois and Missouri. And in Illinois, for instance, the Democrats have drawn the districts in such a funky way that they're trying to eliminate all the conservatives in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans in general, but conservatives in particular. So there's a lot of people that aren't even paying attention to it. The 3rd district on Missouri side, you've got Bob Onder, who's going to be with us in less than an hour here. We're talking about somebody who's going to move that representation from sort of establishment center right to conservative.
Mm.
That's a race to make sure that that you're on top of. Now, I think Bob's chances are really, really good. And you've got all the statewide races, including the U.S. Senate race, which I think the U.S. Senate one can get interesting. I can't foresee a situation where Josh Hawley loses that race, but I don't think it's going to be the blowout that, like, for instance, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in Missouri is going to be a blowout.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not even close.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who are going to invest primarily in Missouri in the Donald Trump presidential race, even though you don't have anything to worry about in Missouri, for that race.
We're talking strategery here,
right?
Basically,
if you're a Republican in Georgia or Wisconsin or Michigan or whatever, it's a whole different story. here in the News Talk STL listening area, there's not a lot of drama, but it's amazing to me how many people focus on that race and not their local. They don't even know who's running for state representative, much less to want to get involved and help, because Democrats in Missouri right now are going to make at least one, if not more than one, pickups. The Republicans, which by the way, in the legislature have brought this on themselves.
Oh gosh, yeah. They made themselves very vulnerable in certain places.
But we've already in the primaries, we've already lost a couple really, really good conservatives because of the primary results. There is still a chance that Democrats could pick up, if the Democrats have a good year, and it's possible that they're going to have a good year, that there could be a shift on the Missouri legislative side. Now, maybe that's the kick in the pants that the Missouri Republicans need, but the reality is that there are some very tight races, and a lot of people are going to focus everything they can on a presidential race that's going to be decided by 12 points or more in Missouri, and have no idea about the race that's literally in their neighborhood. And I'm trying to encourage everybody, look at those races and get involved in those if you like what you're seeing in the candidates in those races.
It's funny. I was sitting in a kind of a local Greasy Spoon where I like to get my burgers, waiting for my order, and there was a lady there with a Kamala and Walls 24 shirt on, and my wife kind of not overtly rolls her eyes, but she kind of looks at me.
You can feel her eyes rolling.
I can feel her eyes rolling. You know the same way she does with me. But the thing is, I realized, like, I don't care. We're in Missouri. Wear as many shirts as you like. Wear a hat. Put a bumper sticker on.
Sure.
Harris Walls is not going anywhere in this state.
No.
So to your point, Mike, yeah, the presidential race is basically just consider it done. Like
for what we can control,
for what you can control, the people in your circle, the all that. Yeah, I mean that it's not nothing, but in Missouri, it's pretty much a done deal. So concentrate on some of these other races. Like you said, Mike, there are certain areas where Republicans are kind of a little vulnerable, where we need to actually be concentrating our efforts.
Right. Yeah. And there's I've got some differences with Josh Hawley on a number of things. I don't think he's particularly vulnerable, but my guess is that this race is going to be closer than what his last election was. Because he is, again, trying to move in a more populist direction towards the left, towards, for instance, go with picketing with, unions, saying, nope, I'm no longer for right to work. I'm against right to work now, kind of this nationalism thing that he's getting into. So he's going to win. Lucas Coons is not going to win that race. And I don't see any real close races in the statewides as well. Mike Kehoe is going to be the next governor. David Wassinger is going to be the next lieutenant governor. Andrew Bailey is going to be elected to a term as treasurer, as will Vivek Malek. So they're all and Denny Hoskins is going to be the next Secretary of State. So you got a Freedom Caucus member who's going to be elected to statewide office. Yeah, so that's going to happen. But then you look at state senate, then you look at state representative. I mean, I can think of two statewide races in St. Louis, state legislative races in St. Louis County that are going to probably be fairly tight. And so those are the races I think that people need to know more about.
Yes.
Than just the ones that are in the headlines because of the personalities and the drama.
Yeah. I wonder what's on everybody else's mind. So if you're thinking about one of these particular races, maybe a one in your district or an area, and you want us to talk about it, just send us a little note, and we'll take a look.
We're getting a lot of comments here. Not everybody's agreeing with me, that's okay.
About which now?
About I think about my take on the
RFK.
Presidential race and RFK.
Okay,
and
sure.
Focusing more on some of the local races. But that's all right. That's why we set up the show. I mean, there's a lot of shows that set up with, if you disagree with the host, man, you're ready for a fight. No, you disagree with the host, I want you to call me.
Yeah, please.
So we can talk about it. I think it's far more interesting. And what's the worst that's going to happen? I have to change my mind, or you have to change your mind if new information happens?
Yeah. Or you both agree to disagree?
Yeah. I mean, is that the worst? Is that the worst we can do?
Oh my gosh, where's my fainting couch?
No kidding.
Well, Lunette's on Rumble
Yeah.
mentions that she's glad that we at least have the opportunity to have a discussion, and we let other folks have opposing viewpoints.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all
That's what
about.
you're supposed to do with a talk show.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, that's right. All right, 314-912-1019. I got some news to dump on you here at 6:51.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever or get new satellite internet where cable can't go? Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. And the best part is, satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. That's 800-696-2871.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Stan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Just see one of the, I forgot which rock star, maybe it was Dave Grohl, one of those guys, got mad because Trump was playing his music at a rally.
Oh, it was My Hero from Foo Fighters.
Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. That was
he
that was the intro to RFK.
Is that what that was? Yeah,
that's what it was.
And Dave Grohl kind of pitched a fit. But here's the thing, is that when you set your music for licensing and you take royalties off it, when you license it, you can use it for whatever you want. There's nothing you can do about it.
BMI has control over it.
Right. Yeah, because you signed a contract saying, I'm going to take money when people pay to use my music.
Right.
And so, well, you don't want people you disagree with using your music, then don't release it for licensing. That's on you, dude.
It's like, you realize it's America, right?
Right. That's part of the deal.
You sold your music to all of us.
I suspect there's a lot of people who make the bump music would not be happy with us saying like conservatarian stuff.
Oh gosh,
over the top of it.
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was kind of funny. And the thing is that it's like virtue signaling because he knows I put out a letter demanding you don't do it. No. Just take your royalty check. You just made 3.5 cents. Be glad that you got it. Congratulations on your press release and your social media reach. All right. Is that war in the Middle East about to break out and expand? We've been worried about that for over a week, really about 2 weeks now. And I have an update for you on Officer Travis Brown. And later on today, about an hour, an unusual take. Who would you prefer, Donald or Kamala? But I'm not just talking about the White House.
Okay.
Your answer might be Kamala on some of these things.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I'm telling you that your answer might be Kamala. All right, let's dump some news on you.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
One area you definitely don't want Kamala is when it comes to border security. The Biden-Harris administration losing track of over 320,000 children who were brought across the border illegally without their parents. 320,000. That's according to a new report released by the Homeland Security Inspector General. So Homeland Security investigates Homeland Security and says we've lost track of over 320,000 children who were trafficked into this country illegally.
Initially it was 200,000, then it went to 250, then it went to 300. Now it's at this amount.
320.
And these are only the ones they know about.
These are the ones they know about, but also 320,000 children trafficked into this country.
Without their parents.
That number alone should be enough to make your blood boil. Senator Mike Lee was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo.
It's hard to lose 320,000 children. Now, I'll note with a degree of cynicism here that the Department of Homeland Security has acknowledged that these children have a higher than average risk of being subjected to trafficking. Yeah, you think? Look, that's the whole way they came into this country. It's the one thing they all have in common. They were all trafficked.
Okay, so as of May of this year, there were 291,000 children brought into the U.S. illegally who were set free by the U.S. government.
Oh my God.
And told to appear in court, but no effort to track their whereabouts.
Remember when everybody was crying about the separated families and the kids in cages and all that stuff? Yeah,
such garbage.
I remember when the point was we're not sure if the adults they came across the border with are actually their parents, so we need to vet them. Now, of course, because we don't have facilities, we threw up some fencing from Home Depot and called it a day. Well, this is the thing what we were talking about. I would rather the kids be in the quote unquote cages right now than being trafficked across America where we can't track them down.
I'd like the kids to not be able to come here illegally.
There is also that.
Just another option.
Yeah. If we weren't a gigantic magnet for all this bull crap, then this may not be the case.
Yep. All right. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. and our allies are working to prevent an escalating regional conflict in the Middle East. Stop me if you heard this one before. No, don't stop me. I got to keep going. There are concerns that more violence is going to break out in the area after Israel and Hezbollah traded heavy fire on Sunday. Sullivan says negotiators are trying to get some stability to the region for everybody's sake.
We are feverishly working in Cairo as we speak with our team and the teams of the other mediators, as well as with the Israelis, to get to a ceasefire and hostage deal along the framework that President Biden laid out, to get calm between Israel and along that border between Israel and Lebanon.
I got another idea. I'm just going to throw this out there.
Okay.
That is, get out of Israel's way. Let Israel kill all of her enemies and put an end to the war that way.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to go.
Yeah. But we have drug our feet through the Biden administration. At one point, delaying shipments of weapons that Israel purchased. They actually purchased. They gave us money for, or they gave our arms manufacturers money for,
and they were authorized originally through the
Congress.
Government.
Yep, precisely. So get out of the way and stop treating both sides like they're equal here. They're not equal in value.
Not even close.
No, let Israel do what Israel needs to do. End the war by killing all the bad guys.
That's supposed to be how it works. We used to know that.
Yeah. All right. Ferguson police officer Travis Brown remains in a coma, according to his family. It's been over 2 weeks now since a Michael Brown-inspired protester caused the traumatic brain injury. But there are small signs of improvements in Officer Brown's condition, again, according to statements made to the media by his family. The family says the sedatives being used could be reduced in the coming days. A community fundraiser to benefit him and his family over the weekend raised $20,000 on Saturday alone. People really turned out for this. A GoFundMe has raised over $150,000. And I've actually linked that on the Rumble page. Do we put that up on the other?
shortly.
We will. Okay, that's coming our way too. All right, the Cardinals get the series win over the Twins, 2-1. They won 3-2 yesterday. Victor Scott II had a home run. Lars Nootbaar drove in the tying and the winning runs in the 9th inning.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You know, you have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
Hey, it's Monday. That means great pizza at a great price. All 4 Steph's Pizza locations make Monday great again with a 16-inch large pizza for just the price of a small. You heard right. It's a classic large Steph's Pizza, however you would like it, for the price of a small. All 4 locations of Steph's Pizza are making Mondays great again. And hey, look, it just happens to be Monday. Check it out at stephspizza.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Ukrainian President Zelensky describes Russia's overnight attack on his country as vile. Zelensky says it involved more than 100 missiles of various kinds and about 100 drones, and at least 3 people were killed.
The strikes began around midnight and appeared to target energy infrastructure. Dozens of Russian drones were seen moving toward eastern, northern, southern, and central regions of Ukraine, followed by multiple cruise and ballistic missiles. Explosions were also heard in the capital of Kyiv, where power and water supplies were disrupted. Meanwhile, Ukraine has been making gains in the border region of Kursk. Ukraine's push into Russia marks the first capture of Russian territory since World War II, but comes as Kyiv continues to lose ground in eastern Ukraine. I'm Nayan Kim.
Both sides in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict have returned to their corners now after their latest confrontation. Hezbollah fired a barrage of missiles into Israel. Israel attacked Hezbollah targets inside of Lebanon. Donald Trump's pollsters expected it, figuring that Kamala Harris would get a post-convention surge of support.
In a memo to Team Trump, pollsters Tony Fabrizio and Travis Tunis predict a temporary bounce in public polling for Vice President Harris after last week's Democratic National Convention. They say such bounces are expected, but they do not last. The pollsters remind the Trump campaign to ignore the media's focus on national polls and instead, quote, keep our eye on the ball, namely the target battleground states likely to determine the election. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And today, the Trump campaign turning its attention to Michigan. Gunmen in Pakistan's restive southwest have killed at least 31 people over 2 separate attacks. Baluchistan has been the scene of a long-running insurgency inside of Pakistan. On Wall Street, the Dow futures up 25 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. The heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, we've got the Democrats' messaging playbook now. That's what they laid out at the DNC.
Yep.
So what's the next move then? Now, when I say that, I'm not just talking about the presidential race. I think they've set that tone up and down the ballot across the country. Where do we go from here? Let's talk about that. Don't forget, News Talk STL. We have got a very, very, very fast-growing social media platform everywhere. Find News Talk STL pretty much everywhere. Instagram and Facebook and Rumble and Twitter or X. Just look up News Talk STL. Please get involved in the conversation and do us a solid and hit the share, out there as well. Help us grow your reach as well. 7:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. We've got former Missouri Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, with us right now.
Who are we talking about?
That guy. You can hear him every afternoon right here with Chris Harps.
Yeah, I know that guy.
The man who is like constantly on the go, globe traveling, Tim Jones, who joins us right now.
Busy man.
And Tim, first of all, agree or disagree with me? I think that the DNC set, I think, the tone and the messaging, not just for the presidential race, but I think it's what the Democrats want what they want the feel to be for this campaign, the rest of this campaign cycle. And they want you to feel good. They want you to be joyful. They want you to forget, the violent fringe left protesters,
Joy.
all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
What did you take from a strategic perspective? I mean, we know what they're arguing is nonsense, but from a strategic perspective, what did you take as the tone that they are trying to set?
Well, good morning, fellas. Great to be back with you all here again today. Happy Monday, everyone. And yeah, Mike, look, when the bar is so low that you all could have tripped over it, I guess we can go ahead and say that the DNC was okay, right? They didn't burn Chicago down. So therefore, their convention was a roaring success. Isn't that funny? That's pretty much what the media wants you to believe. I actually heard them saying the other day, well, the whole mostly peaceful protest line actually was uttered last week.
Oh, did they
believe it
really
or
do
not.
Their ratings, their ratings would have been better if they did burn down Chicago.
Exactly. So the fact that
but I would have been sad.
That's true. The fact that Chicago was not burnt to the ground by pro-Hamas protesters, which is what they really are, is considered a success now in Democrat world. And Mike, you're correct. They want you just to feel hope and changey again, right? All that stuff from back in the Obama eras. They're hoping that they can, speaking of hope, they're hoping that they can sprint to the finish of these 72 days left in the presidential cycle. Amazing that it's that close. Well, many things have happened. They're hoping they can get there without having to, number one, defend their record, which is absolutely abysmal and horrible. And they even admitted it at the convention. Now, it wasn't done in such outright fashion, but if you listen to some of the little lines that were uttered by Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, didn't you hear everybody talking about Michelle Obama literally said that she had an impending sense of dread and a knot in her stomach until very recently.
Yeah.
Well, how recently? Like over the last 3.5 years recently, or just like 30 days ago, Michelle? No, they were talking about how bad Joe Biden was. And now that they don't have to have the doddering old fool wandering around and shaking hands with invisible people, they can recreate a candidate right before. We're seeing it happen. The Democrats are trying to pull off two different coups. Number one, getting Joe Biden basically out of the way, out of the White House, not running for re-election again. That was the biggest soft coup scandal we've seen in decades. And number two, the second coup is to make Kamala Harris into someone she's not. She's been the vice president, the number two for 3.5 years. And they want you to, again, feel as if, no. She's a brand new, we found a new Kamala Harris over here in the corner. And that's the one we're going to run. I hope the American people aren't so deceived, but we've got a lot of work to do with the low information voters.
Morning, Tim. Gabe here. So we've seen a lot of obfuscation in terms of policy positions for a while there. They wouldn't put anything out there. They're not doing any interviews. They're not doing any press conferences. But we did hear a bit of the economic policy out of this ticket. And from what I've seen, it's pretty much a recipe for absolute disaster for America. Do you think the American public will respond the same way that I did once they kind of get their hands around it?
Yeah, they've got to get their hands around it, though, Gabe. They've got to. There's got to be a little media company like News Talk STL, hopefully on in everybody's car speakers all across the country, especially in these blue battleground states. Look, Missouri is going to vote for President Trump unless some cataclysm happens. But we've got those. I heard they're saying 10 battleground states, 10 major battleground states is what this is going to come down to. And people do need to get informed because, Gabe, for example. Yes. So to your point, they're not putting out any policy statements because, to Mike's point, they want us just to vote on vibes again, right? It's all about the vibes. It's all about the feels. Joe Biden made us feel old and crotchety and run down. So we got a new Joe Biden. In fact, we have a new Kamala Harris, that one that you've never seen before. And so that's what the first mission is, to pretend to have the American people believe that this is a brand new candidate. And oh, how exciting, because she checks all of the identity politics boxes. We have another first again. Oh, look, we have another first. We can say the first blah, 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 blah. Now they know what a woman is again, is running for president. And so that's the first part. Now, the second part is to not really tell people what they're going to do, because, Gabe, this party, the Democratic Party, has gone so far to the left that the minute they tell you what they're going to do, people start recoiling like you did and like most of America, like the Washington Post did last week when her economic policy plan was unveiled. This tax on unrealized capital gains that they are promoting. I heard you guys talk about it last week. I don't know if everyone realizes that every blue collar worker in the country will become, will become denigrated to the serfdom class, because none of us are going to have anything to retire on when they're taking 20-30% of the growth in your pension or your 401k every single year, in addition to every single thing else that they want to take. So on the one hand, all the media wants Kamala Harris to start talking. On the other hand, I don't think they want her to talk too much, because they want to protect her from her own insane policy positions until the election. Because when the American people find out what this new leftist, socialist, Marxist Democratic Party wants to do, I think they all will recoil from the absolute horror of it.
Good morning, Tim. Stout here. So the Democrats, the party that loves to talk about democracy, now has a presidential candidate who didn't get a single vote for the position. Does that bother you?
Not only for this go around, Stel, Kamala Harris didn't get a single vote when she actually ran for office. Remember, she didn't get a single electoral vote when she challenged Joe Biden and the other crew of left-wing lunatics back in 2020. She suspended and then terminated her campaign for president before she even got to Iowa, I guess because she didn't want to be embarrassed by a completely destructive showing, which probably could have been used against her right now as we sit here today. But, she hasn't been selected by anyone in the Democratic Party, much less the rest of America, to actually be in the position that she is. So, yes, it is bothersome to me, and people can call it whatever they want, but it's a coronation, it's a coup, and it's a way to avoid talking about the destructive policies of the last 3.5 years that she oversaw. And not only just oversaw, and they can't even use the whole, well, the vice president really doesn't do anything. So she wasn't really with Joe Biden on a lot of this stuff. She cast the deciding votes as the sitting vice president in the Senate for these destructive policies that have wrecked America. Now, back to their old talk on vibes and feels and all that. Republicans have got to do that too. They've got to speak to people directly. Donald Trump and JD Vance need to continue barnstorming across the country, and they need to let people know that what they felt over the last 3.5 years, which has been a lot of despair, a lot of horror at what's going on in our public schools and what the left wants to do to our young children, a lot of disappointment in how we're viewed around the world, this weakened America. Do you want to keep feeling that way for the next 4 to 8 years? Or would you rather start feeling a different way come January 20th next year?
Yeah, we're visiting with Tim Jones. Of course, you can hear him and Chris Arps every afternoon from 4 to 6 o'clock right here. And by the way, it was just over the last couple of days, Donald Trump did say that he embraces universal school choice, or near universal school choice, which I thought was a step in the right direction. I loved hearing that, because I haven't loved everything I've heard from Donald Trump lately, but I really liked that he stepped out in favor of school choice. Okay, Tim, in the last couple of minutes we've got here, translate this down to, say, the statewide levels. I mean, obviously we've got Illinois, Missouri, two very different dynamics around the state. Democrats seem to be most interested in the U.S. Senate race. I don't know why they think they can win that race on the Missouri side, but they're targeting that. Republicans are likely going to sweep all the statewide races, but there are some state legislative races that could turn blue, probably because the Republican establishment did that to itself. But how does all this translate into the more local aspects of what we're going to be voting on?
Well, just like with everything across the country, just like with the presidential race on down to the state representative level, Republicans in Missouri are going to have to deal with the big A on the ballot we haven't talked about yet this morning, abortion. Abortion's on the ballot here in Missouri. And Republicans, just like they failed to come up with counter messaging in 2018 when healthcare was on the ballot, not reproductive justice and this faux women's rights stuff, but just healthcare in general. If you remember, back in 2018, Democrats said that Republicans were going to take away all your healthcare, right? Well, it's the same thing over again, because the Democrats just run the same playbook. Look, guys, they're not running on anything positive other than imaginary hopes, vibes, feels, and changey stuff. There's nothing beneath that. And so they're going to mainly go after Donald Trump's a threat to democracy and abortion. Same thing we've been hearing for the last 8 years that Donald Trump has been around. And same thing we heard before Donald Trump was around. That's what Republicans are always accused of. And so you got to have an answer on the abortion question. And I would simply propose to anybody running for office, you simply do this to your Democratic opponent or the liberal media. Well, what does my opponent favor as restrictions on abortion? Just flip it right back around on them, because today's Democratic Party wants abortion on demand up to the 9th month with 0 exceptions. And this proposal that's on the Missouri ballot is going to open the door to the transgenderification of every little school child around without parental consent. This is a destructive, horrible, nihilistic, cynical proposal, and people need to campaign against it as well as campaigning for office. But it will, of course, have an effect on the ballot because it's on the ballot. And so, yes, I believe that Josh Hawley will be absolutely fine. We'll get reelected. All the other statewide, Bob Onder for Congress, and so many others. But around those purplish, those purplish to blue areas, the inner suburban areas in those state rep districts, there are a few on the edges where they are going to have to run very smart, very, very clever, but very correct campaigns. I would stick on the issues that the Democrats have destroyed, for American life over the last few years. And that would be inflation, crime, public safety, and the border. The border, of course, connected to the second one. You need to make sure that you impress upon people that it's Republicans that are going to continue to keep money in your pocketbook and your neighborhood safe. We got to run on the hope, the change, and the feels as well. I can't believe they're trying to run a change election when they're already in control of the White House and have been in control of the White House for the last 12 out of 16 years. If there's anyone destroying America, it's the Democrats, and we got to let that message be known.
Yeah, that's like Mo saying, we got to do something about these Cardinals. Who's in charge around here?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? I said that out loud. I'm
Shots
sorry.
fired.
All right, I better run
Truth hurts.
to the information segment. All right, Tim Jones and Chris Arps. 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock every afternoon right here early in the day. Have you guys lined up anything for today yet? Or are you still baking up a fresh batch of Tim Jones and Chris Arps?
No, absolutely. Something we didn't get to, guys. Of course, we had the crisis in the middle. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's crisis in the Middle East, the pressure cooker, the lid's blowing off. Of course, we had those issues between Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah over the weekend. We're going to talk to Jim Talent at 4:25 about that. And then Susie Moore, of course, our favorite from Red State and of News Talk STL, will join us at 5:25.
All right. Sounds great. Talk to you again soon, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, gang.
All right. 314-912-1019. We actually going to talk to Bob Onder at 7:35.
We are.
Yes. He's going to be with us here, tripling down on gun control, anti-Second Amendment talk, among other things over the weekend. Of course, it's on social media, not in an interview or anything like that. But one thing I thought was interesting in the dynamics, going back to this RFK Jr. thing, well, his family's mad at him.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
A lot of his family, they're mad
of
at
course.
him. And I have actually seen and been around people who have actually had relationships cut off over politics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a newer thing.
It seems to be a much newer thing.
I mean, I've seen people snark at each other over the decades, but man, recently it's been a little more vitriolic.
Yeah. We had the arguments at Thanksgiving dinner. Now they're just like, I'm not coming.
Oh, now it's like you don't even put out the butter knife because you're worried that somebody's going to stick somebody on that. We'll go over that here right around 7:22 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You want to give me more information. You want to take the place of what I trust.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, this is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Jared, along with 12 other U.S. military personnel, were killed August 26, 2021 at Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan. In honor of the 13, I would like for you and every American-loving patriot to join me and my family on the Angels of Abbey Gate Memorial Ride and Shootout, Saturday, September 7th. For details and to pre-register, go to thefreedom13.org. All vehicles are welcome. We look forward to seeing you.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Monday, what new chaos and crises did Kamala Harris cause over the weekend? Senator Jim Talent joins us at 4:25, 5:25. Red State Headlines with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Oh, I'm newly calibrated. I just saw another streaming ad for that Reagan movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming out. Is that this weekend?
Yes,
Coming out
Labor Day
this
weekend.
Yeah.
Very interested in it.
Yeah, we were still trying to put together a screening, kind of a special News Talk STL thing, and we don't know if that's going to happen.
Still in the works.
Corporations are, hesitant to get involved with conservative radio stations.
Our people are talking with their people.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I keep reading that this is this actually apparently a very realistic portrayal of what happened, the good, the bad, and otherwise of Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take a realistic look at Reagan, it's going to be a positive one because overall, not that he didn't have his faults, but sounds like it's going to be a really good movie. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it.
Same.
Yeah. Interesting stuff here. All right. We're going to talk to Bob Onder here in about 10 minutes. Get the update on his race for Congress. Those in the 3rd District of Missouri, you're going to have a new congressperson. Probably going to be Bob Onder.
Yeah.
He's still got to get through the general election, but things are looking really, really good. But we've talked to Tim, as far as the presidential race, as far as the statewide races. Let's look at that congressional race because remember, you've got the narrowest of margins for the Republicans right now, and there's no guarantee they're going to hold on to that majority come January.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk to Bob about that, especially Kamala Harris doubling down on gun control. The assault weapons ban must be renewed.
Yeah, here we go again.
Basically, I'm going to take my heel and spike it right in the Second Amendment.
Yeah, while we're restricting your first.
Right. Yeah. Now I've noticed the one thing after the RFK Jr. announcement, which happened on Friday, which we told you about that was coming, and people are still talking about that. He's going to do some campaign events with Trump. His family, the Kennedys, they're not happy with it.
Yeah, and of course,
to some degree, is there a name other than Obama that is more synonymous with Democrat than Kennedy?
Of course,
so
not, no.
To some degree, you get that. I mean, that's like we still get irritated. With the one Reagan who shows up at DNC events.
Oh,
it's like you're a Reagan.
Yeah, actually, is that Ron Jr.? Yeah, Ron Jr. Yeah, he. There are a couple of other Reagans who are okay.
Yeah,
right?
there's Michael. There's but
but for some reason, Jr. just decided to go off script.
so the most of the remaining Kennedy family put out a joint statement just slamming RFK Jr.
Of course,
I mean, it wasn't even just that we love our brother, uncle, whatever. And we just disagree. I mean, they went after him.
Yeah, he's off the deep end and all this. It's basically a replay of what a lot of families have been going through in these recent years politically, right? Where these aren't civil differences. These aren't civil disagreements anymore. They're life or death. They are indicators of your moral, capability.
I actually know people who either have cut off or who have been cut off by family members and or have lost friends over their support for or opposition to Donald Trump in particular.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've lost at least one friend.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It was weird.
That is really weird.
It was weird.
So that friend initiated the cutoff then.
Yeah. She just that's a whole story. But yeah, she was among the people I think who COVID broke. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And they said, okay, if you're against any of these measures, then you are, you want to kill people and all these other things. And she was against the vaccine before she was for it because Trump was for it. But then I mean, it's one of those whole situations. And encountering it, I was like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'd rather not talk about it. So let's just kind of move on. But she couldn't let it go, and just it never ends. It became sort of a like I was saying, became a litmus test for your morality.
Yeah, and
like you're not a good person if you have this
and
stance.
I think at some point there are things where you cannot come to a certain conclusion without being on the wrong side of morality.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
Yeah,
there's something to that.
Yeah, that there are some things like you cannot arrive at that position and be a good person at the same time.
Right.
Those are some very, very big and rare ones. Voting for somebody differently than me doesn't mean I'm going to cut you off. I mean, I got one teammate just died in the wool, lifelong blue collar Democrat. There is nothing you are going to say that's going to convince him to vote for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you get him to admit that, okay, they're a little sucky right now, but he's not going to, okay. You know what?
That's his team.
That's his team.
Basically.
So what we do? We talk about baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting off the friendship
right.
over that. But there are people that I don't want to talk to anymore once I've seen them, participate in something that's actively destructive. And I don't think just voting for somebody different than me is actively destroying society.
Oh yeah. Well, and
I know somebody's going to get mad at me for social media for that.
Well, okay. And part of the thing though is that the expansion of what counts as being actively destructive of society, I think is where the rub is, right? So if you are against vaccine mandates, you're destroying society. Right. You're trying to kill people. You're trying to destroy America. Everything's going to collapse, and you're just a bad person. And that was one of those expansions, I think.
Right.
And you would try to point out facts, by the way, like Sweden never having lockdowns,
right?
Never shutting down schools, and they made it through just fine.
Oh yeah, you can't bring up anything
with per capita numbers that were better than ours.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, they did. People who did not do lockdowns were better. People didn't have vaccine mandates. They turned out better. All of those things. You can present all of those things, but it doesn't matter because it's about the message.
And it's like they're a horse with blinders.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just won't look to either side.
And here's the thing is that I understand that every election is about the future and every person who's elected office is going to vote on things that affect our freedoms. When you talk about those mandates, those shutdowns, the reason that I would say Sam Page is a bad human being, J.B. Pritzker is a bad human being, is because they willfully and aggressively took our freedoms away.
Yes.
Without any sort of hoping that not to have any recourse. And by the way, Sam Page is still using taxpayer dollars trying to defend their right to do it again someday. Okay, that's not we have a policy difference. That's not him saying I'm going to vote to for assessments of something that does affect our. That's just a bad policy getting enacted. But literally saying we're going to shut you down and not let you go to church. We're going to tell your kids that you can't go to school. We're going to decide which businesses can and can't. We're going to pick and choose which livelihoods. That right there is evil. So where is that line? Because there's a lot of gray area in there.
That's true.
We should take politics personally. We should.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take more for me to cut off somebody personally, especially family, over politics. I can't think of any family members I'm going to cut off over politics.
Yeah, no.
I mean, when I go hang out with the guys, they bring up politics, knowing what I do for a living. I'm like, I'm off duty. I'm off duty.
Yeah, exactly.
What are they going to do with Goldschmidt next year? What are they going to do with Arenado? Hopefully keep him.
I have a brother-in-law who's run for office as a Democrat, but we play Call of Duty all day.
There you go. So you get to shoot each other.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, we're on the same team.
Oh, okay.
We shoot the other guys.
Have you ever sniped him in the back?
I have not.
Okay.
Yet.
All right. Bob Onder coming your way at 7:35.
Oh, I'm happy as Christmas.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Let the word out. I got to get out. Oh.
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. Heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
So the Secret Service has now placed at least 5 members on administrative leave because on July 13th, Donald Trump was nearly assassinated by a gunman on an open roof less than 150 yards away. If the Secret Service has actually put agents on leave, why did it take so long to take that action? And do they actually bear responsibility for that security fail? Or did they find themselves being offered as sacrifices? I'm sure you agree this does not satisfy me, and it comes nowhere near answering all the questions I have. And there's that other nagging issue. What if the shooter had taken aim at Joe Biden? Would the Secret Service, would the Democrats, would the state-controlled media be so laissez-faire about it as they've been with Trump? To them, it's like July 13 never happened. That sounds harsh. Well, so be it. If it had been Biden, the coverage would be wall to wall. You know this. And Trump supporters would have been blamed for violent rhetoric leading to the shooting. And of course, we would hear calls for more gun control laws. But it was Trump. So now they just kind of want to ignore it. Forget it. Don't let them.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding 2-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
My sponsor, Wellington Environmental, has helped thousands deal with hazardous materials. Hospitals, offices, schools, even homes. Here's something new. Wellington now offers dustless blasting. This is just like sandblasting, but without all the dust and emissions. Wellington uses everything from ground glass, walnuts, corn, even dry ice pellets. One university had Wellington remove their parking lot striping, because dustless blasting is fast and it does not damage the concrete. So as a business or homeowner, I'm sure you could use this process. Industrial tanks, swimming pools, graffiti on buildings. And in fact, Wellington is blasting a Texaco station that will be revised as an historic building. Check the website for details and photos. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Those crazy nights I do remember in my youth.
All right, the DNC, Kamala Harris have a lot to say about things like housing and taxes. Darn you, rich people. By the way, rich people is all of us. If you have, an IRA or 401k.
Yeah.
And of course, guns. Will Republicans in Congress hold the line? We got a couple different possible scenarios to consider on that. We're going to get into that here in about a minute and a half. It's 7:36 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stell here. My name is Mike. By the way, at 7:50, this one's going to be kind of fun.
Mhm.
All right, people are probably looking at their radio like, what in the world is he talking about here?
Yeah.
Who do you prefer, Donald or Kamala?
Right.
No, before you answer.
Yeah.
No, before you answer.
Okay.
I'm going to warn you that your answer might be Kamala.
That's weird.
Yeah, because we're not just talking about politics.
Okay.
All
All
so
right. This is going to be weird.
750.
You're going to make me feel weird with this one, aren't you?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep. 750.
Just
We're
so
going
I'm
to do that.
prepared.
So if you're at home, then just watch on video, and it's going to be fun.
Because we'll be talking pants.
Oh no.
Pants versus slacks.
No.
I can tell you that's not one of the questions.
Oh, rats.
All right, we're joined now by future Congressman Bob Onder. I'm saying it confidently, Bob. Of course, Republican nominee in a very red district. And Bob, all I guess I don't want to say joking, because I mean you're in a great position. You still got to do the work, and you're doing the work. I don't want to ignore that or try to get out ahead of it. But when you look at what's at stake, basically there are three scenarios. Democrats make gains, reclaim the majority. Hakeem Jeffries is the Speaker of the House. Things stay pretty much right where they are with a very tenuous, even split. Or Republicans make gains. Likely Mike Johnson is able to have a little bit of breathing room with Republican policy. But depending on who wins the election, you've got Democrats that have marching orders. For instance, renew the assault weapons ban, push through more student loan cancellations. Kamala Harris has laid out an economic plan that basically is giving away more money pretty much everywhere. So it's going to be crucial that Republicans, regardless of whether you're in the majority or the minority, that you're able to hold together a coalition, not just a coalition, but hold together as a party to stop some horrible stuff. I know you're back and forth in Washington, D.C. You're working with the party on a lot of things. How are the representatives and candidates gearing up to prepare for these different possible scenarios?
Well, you're right. Good morning, guys. You are right. Regardless of what the outcome of November's election is, we need to be able to fight the radical progressive agenda of the Democrat left. And Kamala Harris has made it very clear what her agenda is. So heaven forbid she win the White House. We in Congress are going to have to play defense. It's very clear that the Harris-Biden agenda includes all of the things you listed: overspending, buying votes, with student loan forgiveness, with giving away money, giving away our money, taxpayers' money, to their preferred voting demographics. A continuation of the invasion of our southern border, a continuation of woke ideology of censorship, and of course of completely illiterate economic policies, including price controls. Of course, we know that price controls have never worked. They didn't work in World War II. They didn't work in the 70s under the Nixon administration, and they only lead to shortages and more socialistic policies. So we've got to be ready. We Republicans have to be ready to fight. But as you say, if Trump wins the White House, if we improve our gains as Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives, we'll have some breathing room to actually do some of the things we need to take back our country.
Good morning, Bob. Gabe here. So what do we need to do in order to hold on to the House, electorally? Because right now, I think the Democrats seem to have a bit of momentum behind them with the, abortion becoming a major policy issue, and the various promises that are being made by the major candidates. What do we need to do to appeal to the middle and let them know, hey, we probably should stay in control of the gavel?
Yeah. It's very clear that everything the Democrats are doing is with an eye to the general election on November 5th. The switch out of overturning the results of the Democrat primary and switching out Kamala Harris for Joe Biden. Their carefully orchestrated convention, and then all these giveaways to a handful of preferred voting demographics, the Democrats, I have to say, know what they're doing politically. What Republicans need to do is stay on message, stay on the issue of public safety and ending the invasion of our southern border, stay on the message of improving the economy by a return to the Trump era, very successful Trump era policies of lower taxes, lower spending, the 2017 Trump tax cuts, drilling for domestic energy, and ending just the radical indoctrination that's taking place throughout all areas of our society, especially our schools. I believe that if Republicans stay on message and make that contrast between the radical policies of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I think we will win the election in November.
We are visiting with Dr. Bob Onder, Republican nominee for Congress in Missouri's 3rd District. And what's an interesting dynamic about your race, Bob, is that, with your likely victory, and again, I'm not trying to get out ahead of it or anything or be curt or anything with it, but, the reality is this is a very Republican district, is that your victory would mean that the district goes from center right, Blaine Lukemeyer, right-leaning conservative, to more conservative. And that's going to be a little bit unusual around the country, where not only are conservatives trying to win over Democrats, but also trying to win over sort of that establishment swamp that gets into both parties. And so when you look at that race, what would you think your role could end up being in Washington, D.C.? I mean, we've, seen this in other races, even around Missouri, where you've got some really vetted conservatives who are now in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Well, yeah, I think it's very clear that for too many years, both parties have spent too much. The Republican Party has been at times too timid at taking the fight to the Democrats. The passage at the end of as Republicans were taking over Congress, the passage of a budget bill that had Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's fingerprints all over it. Sometimes we Republicans have been too timid. I think the bottom line is that we need to stand up for our principles. We need to stand up for what we promise the voters: lower taxes, less government, securing the borders, drilling for domestic energy, and restoring prosperity and low inflation that we had under Donald Trump and the Republicans. So I think the role of perhaps us more conservative Republicans is to remind the Republican Party what we stand for.
Yeah. So to be the conscience again of the Republican Party is what I'm kind of hearing you say. Is that fair?
Amen.
Yeah. All right. I love one thing that you said on social media the other day. Maybe it was just yesterday. Kamala Harris puts out, we've got to renew the assault weapons ban. And you just said, no.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's right. That's right. Look,
that's the right answer.
The so-called assault weapon bans are both ineffective and utterly idiotic, as well as unconstitutional. Generally the assault weapons bans basically mean banning semi-automatic rifles on the basis of their cosmetic characteristics. I remember the Clinton assault weapon ban in the early 90s did nothing whatsoever for crime. And let's face it, the great majority of I hate to use the word gun violence, but crimes committed with guns are committed with pistols. So the idea that we should ban weapons that make Democrats squeamish and somehow that's going to affect crime is ridiculous. What we need to do is secure our borders so we can end illegal alien crime and, of course, enforce criminal law in our cities and to not coddle criminals and defund police, as seems to be the Democrat agenda.
Yeah, real quick, one follow-up on that with the illegal immigration issue. We've been talking about in our news here, 320,000 minors, 320,000 children trafficked into this country illegally. Now, a Department of Homeland Security report on itself says they lost over 300,000 kids. They don't know where they are. I mean, the likelihood is that most, if not all of these children are being trafficked into some sort of servitude, be it sexual or labor or something like that. I mean, this even in addition to the horrible policy when it comes to sovereignty and defense of the border, we've now crossed into a horrifically immoral position by America's left right now.
Yes. When these unaccompanied minors are asked, "Where are you going?" In one case, a young boy said, "I'm going to Uncle Juan's," and I believe it was Houston. Well, it turned out 800 minors said they were going to Uncle Juan's in Houston. The Biden-Harris administration is aiding and abetting human trafficking, including child sex trafficking. There's no way they can get around that. They're doing it because they want to load our country up with welfare recipients and future voters. It is an utter betrayal of the citizens of this country, and that reason alone is enough to send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and honestly, all the congressional Democrats packing in November.
All right. Website that we've already tagged you on social media. You still got work to do. 70 some odd days left. You still have an election to win. You're in good shape, but let's not assume it's a done deal.
No, we really need our voters to get out there. We need them to spread the word to their fellow citizens. We need to take our country back. The website is bobondermo.com.
Easy enough. Great. We'll talk to you again soon, Bob. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Who would you rather? Who do you prefer, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Okay. All right. I'm starting to get some images of what possibly it could go a different way.
I'm telling you, your answer might be Kamala Harris on some of these questions.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. That's what's giving me pause.
7:51.
All right.
Okay.
I do recall those were the best times, most of all.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Calling all Patriots. Join us for an unforgettable evening celebrating America's greatness at the Patriots Banquet. Honor our veterans, support our first responders, and meet Hollywood tough guy Marshall Teague, the infamous Jimmy Reno from Roadhouse. September 7th at 333 Vineyard in Washington, Missouri. Tickets include dinner and open bar. Upgrade to VIP for exclusive cocktails with Marshall. All proceeds support the Washington Guard's emergency response efforts. Reserve your spot now at thewashingtonguard.com.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, YouGov asked pretty big sample of people, variety of things. In this situation, would you prefer Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
In this situation. Okay, so each question is a different situation.
Right, and this has nothing to do with politics.
Okay.
So I'm going to go around the room here.
All right, here we go.
You want to chime in? 314-912-1019. You can be part of the room.
Yeah.
And
Mark
then,
your
of
answer
course-
with the question number. So
That's right.
this is question number 1.
Yeah, let me see here. Question number 1. I'm not. I'm number 1. I'm not. It's like who would win at arm wrestling. I'm not.
That's silly. That's silly. Okay.
How about this one? Okay,
This is
so-
our actual question number 1.
Yeah, they asked who would give better financial advice, meaning personal financial advice.
Oh, clearly Trump.
What do you
Yes,
think?
I agree.
Yeah, no question. 58% of people said Trump.
58%?
I'm wondering what's wrong with the 42%.
Seriously?
Who thought Kamala Harris would give better personal financial advice?
I mean,
than Trump.
I was expecting, somewhere around the 10% that we'd always get with people who don't think we
Right.
got, went to the moon.
Yeah.
But okay. So, all right. Gosh.
Who would win at poker?
Poker.
I'm going with Trump.
I'm thinking Kamala because she'd cheat.
Well, 65% said Trump would win at poker.
Okay, all right.
I would think. I mean,
in a fair game, I would give it to Trump.
I couldn't imagine either one of them playing poker, but their biggest fear would be Larry Connors at the table where he would clean their
That's right.
clock.
And
my
Vic.
gosh.
And Vic
Yeah.
Porcelli.
Vic.
Vic Porcelli.
Those two
Yeah,
guys at the
exactly.
table, you guys
Yep.
are done.
Okay, how about this? Who would survive longer on a deserted island?
Trump does have more to live off of. I'll say it that way. But
Kamala could cook up some food to survive.
Yeah,
probably.
that's true. She's younger and fitter.
Now remember,
so,
this is not political.
Yeah.
Who lasts longer on a deserted island?
I'll say Kamala.
I'll say Kamala. Yeah,
Yeah.
just being younger and fitter. Yeah, you can do more.
57% said Kamala Harris. I think
Again, what's wrong with the other percentage?
Yeah,
here?
well, I mean, but see, there are some people
they can't separate it.
They can't separate it, or they're like, my candidate is invincible, kind of thing. That kind of thing.
Superhero.
Now, how about this one? Who would win at pub trivia?
Pub trivia.
I think that's an interesting question.
I bet Trump would. I bet Trump knows random stuff. He strikes me as the guy who knows random stuff.
I would definitely go with Trump since he seems to play 4D chess. So
the
yeah.
4D chess.
You and Chris Arps with the 4D chess stuff. Okay, so 58% thought Kamala Harris would win at pub trivia.
Really?
I'm going to go with Kamala Harris because anything that has to do with like pop culture, I have a feeling she's more connected to.
Maybe.
And pub trivia is going to do sports and pop trivia. And I don't think they're going to do history and finance and stuff like that.
Actually, you know what? Let me go back and look at that though, because Trump was basically pop culture for like 20 years. He was pop culture. Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe he's lost touch with it. But then again, Kamala was smoking, doobies with listening to Tupac before he released his album. So
yeah,
there's also
before
that.
he was born.
Before he was, there is also that.
How about this? Who would give better parenting advice?
Kamala doesn't have any kids, does she?
No,
she's got stepkids.
Stepkids.
Yeah, Trump.
I agree. Trump.
59% said Kamala Harris.
I disagree.
I don't agree with that one either.
Look at Don Jr. and Eric and the rest of the family.
Other than what's her name, Tiffany, who's like the estranged one that nobody pays attention to. I don't know what's going on with that dynamic, but everybody else, they've been really successful.
Yeah,
have you seen
relatively
her
well
stepkids?
adjusted.
They are not well adjusted.
Oh gosh,
those stepkids are weird.
They are very weird. Now, of course, I would blame that completely on the dad, just because she's a step parent. What's she done?
Let's see. I'm not going to get through all of these, but there's a bunch of them here. Yeah, this is weird. Okay, who do you think would be? I just gave it away. Who do you think would be a better designated driver?
Oh, Trump.
I think Trump.
I would think so. Trump doesn't drink alcohol.
He doesn't drink.
That's
he
what I'm
literally
thinking.
doesn't drink.
And
Clearly Kamala does.
She does something. Because
Yeah.
I go back to what Chris Arps says that he thinks that she's either always high or always drunk. That she is a functioning addict of some sort, and that's why we get the ramblings and the word
And
salads
the cackling,
and all this. Like she's just not on it.
61% of people said Kamala Harris would be a better designated driver.
Are they presuming that Trump doesn't drive because he's always getting
I
driven
don't know.
places now?
or that he would road rage?
I don't know.
That I can see.
You ever see that clip where he buys a lady's car with and the kids in the car, and it's a hilarious bit, and he drives the car away.
Okay, so here are some others here. Who would be a better house guest? Who would you rather have knock on the door and sit down and have a chat with for a little while? have a tea, have a coffee, have a whatever. Who would be a better house guest just in general?
Definitely Trump for me.
Jeez. See,
are you taking the politics out of it?
No, because he has such a wide, I think, a wide spectrum of interests that I would love to just sit down and talk with him, whether it's, it can be sports or TV, radio kind of stuff.
I would definitely love to pick Trump's brain. I'm just worried that as a house guest, he would just take over, because he has such a huge presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, Kamala would try to explain to me things I already know in a baby voice. So and I hate that.
64% of people said Kamala Harris would be a better house guest.
Mm-hmm.
I know this makes people mad. That's what I would go with, because Trump makes everything about Trump.
In general, she'd probably make a better guess, but the minute she starts trying to explain something to me as though I'm in third grade, I would kick her out.
How about better relationship advice? Let's be honest.
Kamala's been married longer, or married to I should say married to one person.
Yeah, longer. Donald Trump doesn't get to say, "I'm an expert on marriage. I've been married 3 times." You probably get better relationship advice from Kamala,
such as it is.
News, analysis, and opinion.
We've agreed with ABC on September 10th.
Glad that he's finally agreed to a debate.
I think it's very important to have debates.
I am happy to have that conversation about an additional debate.
I don't know if they're going to agree.
Now we have to worry about a recession too.
The Democrats have been in charge of the country for 12 of the last 16 years. And the only time period in them 16 years that have actually worked for the American people is when Donald Trump was president of the United States.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardis.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Donald Trump campaigns in Michigan today, which also happens to be the 3rd anniversary of the deadly bombing during the disastrous Biden-Harris evacuation of Americans from Afghanistan.
The Republican presidential nominee will continue to hammer Vice President Kamala Harris and the Biden administration on the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Today, Donald Trump visits Arlington National Cemetery to pay his respects to 13 U.S. service members killed in a suicide bombing at the Kabul airport 3 years ago today. Then he heads to Detroit to address a conference of the National Guard Association of the U.S. Trump has been zeroing in on the Democratic presidential nominee and her role in foreign policy decisions. Last week in North Carolina, he highlighted the vice president's statements that she was the last person in the room before Biden made the decision on Afghanistan. Jennifer King, Washington.
And this week, the Harris-Walz ticket goes on a bus tour across southern Georgia. There's a rally planned in Savannah. Harris has yet to participate in an unscripted news conference. No deal from the latest round of Gaza's ceasefire hostage release talks. in Cairo.
Speaking anonymously, the official described the recent talks as constructive and said discussions will continue at lower levels in an effort to end the war in Gaza and bring about a hostage deal. The talks included the CIA director as well as the head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. A Hamas delegation was briefed by mediators but did not directly take part in negotiations. The development comes after Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah traded heavy fire, but stopped short of sparking a widely feared regional war. I'm Nayan Kim.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says his government is imposing a 100% tariff on imports of Chinese-made electric vehicles. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 65 points, NASDAQ futures down 23. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-69.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. The heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Sievers Equipment in Jerseyville has 2023 and 2024 Polaris ATVs and UTVs priced so low that your wife will tell you to buy 2 of them. These deals only last until August 31st, and Sievers will throw in an additional $500 you can use towards price, accessories, or extended warranty. Hunting season is approaching, and you work hard. This is the time to treat yourself with the Polaris ATV or UTV you deserve. They won't last long with these prices, and you only have until August 31st to get to Sievers Equipment in Jerseyville. SieversEquipment.com.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Three years ago today, we were dealing with the disastrous, botched pullout in Afghanistan that resulted in the death of three members of the armed forces, including Jared Schmitz from right here in the St. Louis area. That was 3 years ago.
Boy, that's hard to fathom. It's been 3 years.
3 years ago.
Man.
Well, their memory lives on.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a way for you to be involved in that coming up here in just another week and a half or so. All right, it is 8:05 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. We've got Gabe Pfeiffer here. We've got Stel Ponticus here. And I am now joined by Greg Doolin with Freedom 13, which has got a special event coming up here. And Greg's an ambassador with the Freedom 13. It's thefreedom13.org. And Greg, of course, you've been there and done that as well as both Marine and in the U.S. Army as well. So a lot of experience. But we've got the Memorial Ride and Shootout coming up on September 7th. I want to get to that here in just a minute and what it is and how people can be involved. But as Stell just said, it's hard to believe that has been 3 years ago, because I remember being on the air when it happened. Of course, none of us had any idea that Jared Schmitz was one of the victims of that entire situation, but us being stunned at what happened. And none of us here have military experience. So when you look back on this, and particularly when Mark Schmitz, who's been on the show, looks back at that point, it's got to feel like a lifetime away, but also at the same time, feel like it happened yesterday. What's your take, just as being somebody who's worn that uniform?
Good morning, Mike. First of all, let me thank your radio station, News Talk STL, and all of the great hosts and ownership for letting us get the word out. And then, of course, I want to emphasize to all your listeners, civilian, veterans, American patriots alike, keep Mark and his family in your prayers and thoughts today, as well as the parents, Gold Star parents of all the other 12, as well as all the parents and family members of the 45 plus that were injured by what this suicide bomber did. As far as my thoughts, Mike, all I can say is it's a somber day for all of us that have wore the uniform, or those families that have also served, that are married, family members, they serve as well. I served temporarily at Bagram Airfield, flying around the Middle East, working in plans and operations for our military on my last deployment. And I can tell you what irked me the most was a week ago when we seen the Taliban marching down a runway that we built for operations, going all across the Middle East and parading our $85 billion worth of equipment, pretty much giving us the middle finger and telling us that they were the winners. But I'm here to tell you, coming up Saturday, September 7th, with all of your listeners participating, we're going to show them that America is still the victors.
Good morning, Greg. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So before we get into the event in particular, tell us what your organization actually does, thefreedom13.org.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So our mission statement is to provide 50 recreational retreats in 50 states with 13 homes, if you will, Airbnb homes and properties of 180 acres plus, for veterans and their families to utilize these homes for free with proper documentation, DD 214, for free, 1 week at a time. And what these families and veterans can do is utilize these homes. All their meals will be prepared. They can take a knee, take a retreat, get away from life, maybe from a last deployment or mobilization, and they can bring basically ready to operate in an environment that gets them away from life. They can fish, hunt, ATVs, hike. We'll have things for their teenagers and their children on campus as well. And this is totally free to veterans, deserving veterans and their families, to basically, like we say in the military, take leave and some R&R, recreate and retreat.
Good morning, Greg. Stal Ponticus here. So tell us a little bit more about what we can look forward to regarding the event on Saturday, September 7th.
Thank you, sir. Yes. So what we have put together is a great memorial ride. It's called the Angels of Abbey Gate Memorial Ride and Shootout. So this event will start at Gold Star Harley Davidson, just outside of Festus, off of Highway 6167. And the great staff, Tim Surdike and all their staff there, McKenzie, and those folks there have been the backbone of this mission for this memorial ride. We're going to have free breakfast offered by Gold Star for up to 400 riders, free of charge. We've got the Marine Corps Honor Guard from Detachment 707 in Arnold bringing their color guard to fire 3 shots and play taps. The mayor of the city of Festus, who is a retired Marine Sergeant Major, will be bringing a proclamation at Gold Star to start the event and proclaim it as Gold Star Family Recognition Day. We will also have an 18-wheeler that has all 13 of the deceased military personnel that were killed by the suicide bomber that are wrapped and decaled on an 18-wheeler that will be escorting all the motorcycles, the bikes, the trucks, the Jeeps, whatever licensed motorized vehicle you can come and participate in the ride. And then we will kickstand up at 10 a.m. for civilians. Then we will move up 55 to 270 to Highway 70 to St. Charles Harley-Davidson, where we will have great lunch served and provided by the staff at St. Charles Harley-Davidson, and a band called Past Ambitions performing some great classic rock 70s and 80s music on the stage there at St. Charles Harley-Davidson. Then once that's completed, we're going to move out to Truesdale, Missouri, 30 miles west on 70, and have a paintball competition, Joes versus pros. So a lot of your military, first responders, police, what have you, versus the average Joe, and a great shootout. And we'll also have music provided out there as well, and some great drinks available. And so it's 2 events in one day, and I want to see a parade of patriotic citizens, civilians, veterans, families of veterans to show up at the opening event at Gold Star Harley-Davidson for Gold Star Family Recognition Day. And of course, Mark and his family will be the special guest, and all of you riders can come out there and participate in this grand memorial ride.
Okay, now first of all, is anybody taking bets on who's going to win the shootout between the professional military and first responders versus the average Joes? Because I'm betting on the pros on that one there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All I can tell you is, if they put their money on me, I was a drill sergeant for 5 years and in the infantry. So put all your bets on me.
Yeah, that's what I would do. We're visiting with Greg Doolin with the freedom13.org. And I'm saying that very carefully because it turns out we found a couple of Freedom 13s online, but the freedom13.org. And I just linked on the Rumble chat box to the event itself. And so you've mentioned the ride as well. Do you have to be on a bike to be a part of this? Can anybody join?
Anybody, any vehicles can participate. I've got people that are bringing their pickup trucks with their flag racks and the hitch, flying flags proudly. What I'd love to see is kind of a fun inside event where we see which branch of the military flags are displayed the most. Marines, Army, Air Force, Space Force, Navy, what have you. Let's see whose branch can be the most prevalent here in our parade. And I can tell you from all the Marines and former Marines I've talked to, that they're a hard bunch to beat. But now I will digress because I did the Marines and the Army. So come one, come all, any vehicle.
All right. And of course, this is a ticketed event, and that's the point of it, is to raise money for this, for the operations, or for, the housing that the servicemen and women are going to need. So you learn more about this at let me go back to the page there, thefreedom13.org. And by the way, Greg sent me some photos of like one of the trailers of some of the supplies, and it's got the wrap with all of those who were killed 3 years ago today. And I told Greg in the text, I said, that artwork on that trailer is just really, really powerful, because you're looking at the humanity of what happened with that. And I'm avoiding the politics of it on purpose right now, but you're looking at the humanity for those who gave an ultimate sacrifice, went into a war zone and had that happen. So it's a reminder that when we talk about policy and wars and news, we're talking about real people. And of course, this really affected the St. Louis area in a huge way. So we're talking about September 7th of this year. People have any questions? What's the best way to reach out? Or maybe if they just want to help and they can't make it on the 7th, or they want to maybe get a group together to do it. There's plenty of time to get that done. What's the way to be in touch?
Yes, sir. What I recommend is just go to the thefreedom13.org. All the events are there, as well as the Freedom 13 Facebook, and how they can really help, whether they are in the ride and or not and want to support from afar with their prayers and thoughts, is we've established what's called a recurring gift that $13 a month, representing the 13 Marines and soldier and corpsmen, Navy corpsmen that were killed. And you can just do that as a recurring donation. If you work for a corporation or a company that wants to make a one-time donation, that is really, if you will, the spinal fluid of what will keep our operation going. We want to establish this first recreational retreat in Missouri. We want to call it the house that Jared built. And so if you're within my sound of my voice right now, just go to thefreedom13.org and all the information you need is right there. And we'll look forward to seeing hundreds on the highway on Saturday, September 7th.
All right. And I want everybody to send a lot of pictures too.
And right there on that landing page for thefreedom13.org is an artist rendering of that camp, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hey, Greg, thanks so much for the update. I know that some of our other programs are going to be highlighting this as well. And there's a chance that we'll be talking to Mark a little bit later on this week, but thefreedom13.org. And we are putting that out on our social media and pushing that out as well. So Greg, we'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you. And God bless you. Keep Mark and his family and all of them in your thoughts and prayers. That's the most important thing. That's what will help establish this for the veterans and their families.
Absolutely. All right.
Greg.
Once again, thefreedom13.org. All right. We're going to dump some news on you here right around 8:20. I think I knew, but it didn't really sink in until just a little bit earlier today. I'm like, whoa, that was 3 years ago today.
Yeah.
And remember, we were in the old studio before we set up out here in Maryland Heights, looking at the TV,
just watching the craziness
trying
happen.
to stay focused, doing a talk show, realizing that something had gone horribly wrong. And then we find out within about another 24 hours that it was Jared Schmitz, the St. Louis connection, had lost his life in that. So check it out. Hopefully we can get a lot of people involved in that. I just looked at their shop too. There's some really, really cool merchandise if you want to show your support that way as well.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Get up, what are you waiting?
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, just to let you know, 8:35, I've got ticket giveaway information to tell you about. Hot off the presses.
Oh, okay.
And by presses, I mean hot off my email the boss just sent me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll do that.
That's what that was. Okay.
8:35. Yep. All right. Speaking of war in the Middle East, is another one about to grow and break out and expand. We've been bracing ourselves for that for a long time.
Yeah.
Also, an update on Officer Travis Brown from Ferguson Police. And then, you know what? I think I can go through at 8:50 and finish some of those questions. Who would you prefer in any given situation, Donald or Kamala?
Yeah.
8:50.
Yeah, let's do
because a couple of our answers actually were Kamala, and
Mhm.
some of those who are answering on social media as well. Right now, let's dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, the Biden-Harris administration has, according to a report from the Department of Homeland Security. So this is the federal government under the Biden-Harris administration investigating the federal government under the Biden-Harris administration.
Right.
And they have acknowledged that they have lost over 320,000 children who were brought into this country illegally without their parents.
This is so crazy.
That number is staggering.
It's disgusting.
I mean, let me put it to you this way. 320,000 is bigger than the actual population of the city of St. Louis.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That perspective makes it even
Right.
worse.
That means
My goodness.
that for every single person who is a resident of the city of St. Louis, there is one child who has been trafficked into the U.S. and has been lost by the federal government and set free, probably right back to some other traffickers on this.
And whenever we talk about the border, we're talking about the people who have had sort of an official encounter.
Yes.
We're not talking about the gotaways.
Right.
We're not talking about people that they saw at a distance but never made it over there. We're not talking about the people who went completely under the radar, which we know numbers easily in the hundreds of thousands just by themselves.
And this is all according to a new report released by the Homeland Security Inspector General.
Yeah.
Senator Mike Lee was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo.
It's hard to lose 320,000 children. Now, I'll note with a degree of cynicism here that the Department of Homeland Security has acknowledged that these children have a higher than average risk of being subjected to trafficking. Yeah, you think? Look, that's the whole way they came into this country. It's the one thing they all have in common. They were all trafficked.
And to your point, Gabe, these are the ones we know about.
Yeah.
To where they were encountered and then
in custody,
set free.
Yeah.
Minors trafficked into the country and then set free and told, show up at this date.
Yeah.
Without parents.
Yeah.
That is how irresponsible and immoral, you know, when we talk about high likelihood of them being trafficked, immediately people think of sex trafficking, which a lot of that I'm sure is exactly what's happening. But you're also probably looking at forced labor,
yes,
trafficking, which is a nicer way to say slavery.
Yes,
happening in the United States right now. And by the way, Missouri, one of the top 10 states in the country for human trafficking, because we have so many interstates on the Missouri side. I don't know where Illinois is on that, but on the Missouri side, we've got interstates that go all different directions.
We're right at the intersection to the whole country, basically. So
there is a better than average chance that within just a few miles of you right now is a victim being trafficked right now, physically within a few miles of you.
Yep.
And us right now.
Statistically true.
Yep. All right. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. and allies trying to prevent the escalation of hostilities in the Middle East. Yeah. So they say there are concerns for more violence in the area. They are so tone deaf on this. After Israel and Hezbollah traded heavy fire on Sunday, Sullivan says negotiators are trying to get some stability in the region and say they're doing it for all sides involved.
We are feverishly working in Cairo as we speak with our team and the teams of the other mediators, as well as with the Israelis, to get to a ceasefire and hostage deal along the framework that President Biden laid out, to get calm between Israel and along that border between Israel and Lebanon.
Okay, so they are still stupidly trying to treat all sides as though they are legitimate negotiators at the table, and that one of them is not an Islamic terrorist organization hell-bent on trying to wipe Israel off the map because they hate Jewish people.
I couldn't imagine being like a parent or something over there in Israel while, the air raid sirens go. You have to run to the local shelter, which is a mainstay of your daily life. You got to grab your kids from the playground. You're praying to God that the Iron Dome holds true and that none of the debris falls on you or somebody you love. And meanwhile, somebody over in the United States says, we have some concerns about escalating violence.
We need both sides to calm down. Listen, Israel, we need to stop being a weight on Israel so that they can go kill the bad guys, and that will end the war. Let them kill the bad guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Ferguson police officer Travis Brown remains in a coma. That's according to his family and statements made to the media and on GoFundMe. Over 2 weeks ago, he was critically injured by a Michael Brown BLM-inspired protester, and that caused a traumatic brain injury. But the family says there have been some small signs of improvement, which basically translates into hope for Officer Brown. Family says the sedatives being used on him could be reduced in the coming days, and apparently that means medically that is a good sign. We don't know how good of a sign yet. A community fundraiser to benefit him and his family raised $20,000 on Saturday alone. A GoFundMe account has been set up, and that one has been vetted. I posted it on the Rumble chat box. It's raised over $150,000. They have a $200,000 goal.
We do have it posted on our Facebook and Twitter accounts.
Good. I threw in $50 myself. Every little bit's going to help. Anybody out there willing to match me on that? So you can find that. Let's throw, if we can get, I would love to see 10 people. You and I are two of them. Throw 10 people, throw $50 in, and we could help out. This is going to help him and his family as they move into a very difficult area of their life, because his life has changed because of these Michael Brown and BLM and Antifa inspired lunatics on there. So go ahead and check that out. Okay, let's see here. Gas prices still going down just a little bit. Let's see here. They've dropped 9 cents over the past 2 weeks on average. New national average of $3.43. It's less than that here. It was $3.17, I think, that I saw.
I've seen a lot of 309s.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fill up today. My wife borrowed my car yesterday, and I got back in this morning. I'm like, oh, I've got 50 miles left on that.
I did see a station in New Melly, by the way, $2.99.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
That was a surprise.
All right, good. Because I have to fill up today.
Okay.
So I'm glad to know that.
Not that you have to go all the way out to New Melly.
No. That would defeat the purpose.
You should be able to find 309, hopefully.
Yeah, I could live with that. That's been a drop of 18 cents from 6 weeks ago, 53 cents from a year ago. Oil industry analyst Trilby Lumberg says the reasons for the drop include a variety of things, including the end of summer travel season and then a return to full capacity at some refineries, both in Ohio and in Illinois. They were limited because of some weather issues. And another reason that prices are going down.
We may have another nickel or more in declines coming from the mid-September allowable lower cost for gasoline, as refiners will no longer have to make summer blend.
Yeah, that's an environmental regulation that they have to do during particular months, and that's coming to an end, meaning it's a little less expensive to produce the gas, and that typically means this time of year we drop another few cents as well.
Stupid government.
Yep. Cardinals win the series. They beat the Twins 3-2 to win the series, 2-1. Victor Scott II had a home run. Lars Nootbaar drove in the tying and go-ahead runs at the top of the ninth. Redbirds play the Padres in San Diego today at 6:45.
Cardinals are back at 500, by the way. 65 and 65.
It's something.
Yeah, but they're still 10 back.
Oh, yeah. They're way back.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer coming back strong this week. Mostly sunny today, a high near 99. Heat index tops out around 103, maybe 104. Tonight's low 79 under a mostly clear sky. And then a heat advisory goes into effect Tuesday in St. Louis as temperatures and humidity continue to climb. Tomorrow's high 100 degrees, but it'll feel like between 105 and 110 in the afternoon. Not much change for Wednesday either. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
News commentary.
RFK Jr. dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump. The thought police are very angry. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
On August 30th, Reagan returns to office.
We are the greatest country in the world. We have just forgotten it.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan in theaters Friday, August 30th. PG-13 may not be suitable for children under 13.
After RFK Jr. suspended his presidential campaign and threw his support behind Donald Trump, the thought police on the left and even the Kennedy family, well, they showed their true colors. Democrats and fellow Kennedys condemned him. And for what crime? For having the audacity to think for himself? For having the guts to go against their groupthink? I don't agree with everything RFK Jr. stands for, but I respect his commitment to independent thought. I also respect his undying allegiance to free speech and his courageous battle against big government, big tech, and big pharma. In terms of the election, his endorsement of Trump may not be enough to tip the scales. However, there is something to be said about this. Joe and Kamala have been so disastrous, they turned a Kennedy into a Trumper. Now that is saying something. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Craving a taste of Italy? Look no further than Vitale's Deli.
Family owned and locally operated, we're bringing a little bit of the hill to the heart of Glendale. Our friendly staff treats you like family, serving up a delicious variety of sandwiches inspired by authentic Italian flavors. With reasonable prices and something for everyone, Vitale's is your own backyard taste of Italy.
Come see us.
Call 314-966-9912 or visit vitalesdeli.com.
Vitale's Deli, where great food meets a family tradition.
Hello, this is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Jared, along with 12 other U.S. military personnel, were killed August 26, 2021 at Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan. In honor of the 13, I would like for you and every American-loving patriot to join me and my family on the Angels of Abbey Gate Memorial Ride and Shootout, Saturday, September 7th. For details and to pre-register, go to thefreedom13.org. All vehicles are welcome. We look forward to seeing you.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
#1 for live and local conservative talk.
They cover the important stories.
They're not going to stop Trump.
Close the border now.
It just makes sense. 101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Well, I took a walk around the world to ease my troubled mind.
Hey, I've heard this song before.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, it's played a couple times.
Yeah.
I like
over
this
the
song.
years.
I saw them. I saw them at the concert a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yep, that's right. They were the opening act for Creed.
They were one of the opening acts.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, that was fun.
And Finger 11, was that the other band?
Finger 11 was the other one. And then Finger 11, this band, Three Doors Down, and then of course Creed.
Can I tell you something real sappy?
Yes.
This is kind of one of Janet and I's songs. for some reason.
really?
Yeah, just I don't know why. It's just it came out. I think we heard it. It's like, oh, that's really nice. So I bought her the album, and that was like my first gift to her. Was this
okay.
album? So
So
so she kind of she looks upon this song very fondly.
You're right. That is pretty sappy.
Isn't it sappy?
But here's the thing:
Isn't that cringe?
Here's how nerdy Gabe is on all this stuff.
Yes,
the song is Superman.
It's about Superman. It's called Kryptonite.
And you're wearing a Captain America shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a Superman shirt too that I bought around the same time, and I don't think I fit in anymore.
Because of all the weightlifting, it's all the muscles.
It's all the muscles. That's what it is.
Okay,
that's what we're gonna say.
Got some thoughts on RFK.
Yeah,
suspending his campaign. Now he's on board the Trump train. Lots of conversation about that over the weekend on social media. 314-912-1019. You got on 9 minutes left if you want to get in on that discussion.
Now, what do you think the most significant question around it is? Is it the significance of it electorally, the significance of it sort of culturally, or something else?
I think there's two, and here's where I'm going to lead with. On the one is, will this make a difference electorally?
Right. Okay.
I have yet to be convinced that it's going to. I don't know that it hurts Trump by any stretch of the imagination. But I think when you look at the actual electoral, I don't know that his support was as big as what they hoped it would be. And also, will the people who would have voted for him do what he's asking them to do in the first place?
Right.
And then the other part of this is, what does this say about the direction of Trump's campaign from here on out? So let's get to that here in just a minute. 314-912-1019. All right. By the way, hot off the presses here. I mean, literally, I just got this email here. The Legends of Country Rock coming to Family Arena on September 28th. This is going to be fun. We are talking about Firefall. We're talking about Richie. How do I pronounce that? Furay. Leads. I remember Poco, that band. He's the lead singer of that band.
And Buffalo Springfield.
Yep. Oh, I didn't know Buffalo Springfield. I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, and Souther Hillman Furay was another band he had.
Got it. And ARS. I don't know that band.
I presume ARS would be Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Oh, okay.
I presume.
Everybody, I think, knows Pure Prairie League
Amy.
as well. Yes, Amy, the big hit. I actually just heard that on the radio like a week or so ago. So Pure Prairie League is going to be the headliners for that. But we are going to be giving away multiple pair of tickets to this show.
Okay.
So I've already put the direct link to sign up for a chance to win on the Rumble chat box, but you can find it at newstalkstl.com, and you can start signing up right now. We are going to give away those tickets on September 16th. The show is on the 19th. And actually these are actually going to be like physical tickets. So when you sign up, we're centrally located. We're in Maryland Heights. Make sure that you're able to come pick them up. But check it out. newstalkstl.com. Look for Legends of Country Rock. And there's the ticket giveaway there so that you can have a chance to go on us. And Family Arena is a fun place to see a show. I've seen a lot of shows out there. It really is a good time.
I will just warn you, though, that because of their entrance requirements, ladies, you're probably going to have to leave your purse in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that has gotten a lot of my friends who've had to go there for things. And they're like, we hiked it across the parking lot, and then we had to hike it back to the car and leave the person and go back in, so just
if they do
clear
the clear thing.
You're allowed to bring a clear bag, but even then, I think there's a size restriction.
Which is pretty standard about every arena and amphitheater these days.
At this point, just go online, check out the entrance requirements, just so you can be prepared, so you don't come away with hurt feelings.
When I went to the Creed show a couple weeks ago, it had been forever since I'd been to Riverport. I mean, I hadn't been there in a long time. And one thing that kind of surprised me is they if you brought a blanket, they were frisking the blankets.
Oh, really?
They were literally frisking the blankets.
Wow, I did not know.
I don't know what you're hiding in there.
What is that blanket suspected of? And you're not allowed to bring lawn chairs.
Oh,
now you can rent their lawn chair.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I think I'm like, okay.
So this isn't a safety concern.
No, as though the $18 beer
wasn't enough.
Is not enough. You don't let people bring in a lawn chair because you're going to make them rent and I don't know how much they were because I actually had a seat. But I'm like, come on, guys, really? Man.
Well, I guess they got to make their money somehow.
No, they're making it. I mean, if you think about it, I don't know what Riverport holds as far as their capacity goes, excuse me, but it was full.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was sold out. The only way you were going to get a ticket to that particular show was if you find it aftermarket, somebody selling their ticket that they'd already purchased. So they sold every possible ticket. And if you think about it, I mean, I don't know, what's the seat out there? 15, 18,000, something like that?
It could be.
Yeah, something.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah. And
I was going to guess 10 or 12, but you might be right. Might be 15 or 18.
maybe it's 15 because there were people standing against the fence in the back. I mean, it was just packed. But let's just say 15. Let's meet in the middle somewhere and say it's 15. And then you look at all those insane prices for the food and the water and the drinks.
They're putting cash away.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, it is possible that $5 to $8 million changed hands.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
For that one concert.
Yeah, man.
Now there's a lot of expense in that as well.
Yeah, you got to pay all the people and the merchandise and all that stuff.
Well, and you also think about, like, if you go to any typical Cardinals games, even though they're not drawing really well right now, they're drawing about 30,000 to a home game. You figure there's probably $3, $4, $5 million changing hands per game.
Man, see, this is why you have to get into the business of being the middleman, the processor.
Yeah, that's right.
If all you do is you invest in the point of sale or something like that, and you pull like 0.5% or 1% off just for providing stuff. Oh man, yes, yeah. Let me get into that.
Well, do you know what they're starting? And you'd see what they're starting to do at Busch. I think you're going to see this more and more.
Those kiosks there,
kiosks and vending.
Yeah,
vending machines. You can go in there and just think, they don't need to hire the 19-year-old who's only going to show up half the time anyway.
Thanks, minimum wage laws.
There you go.
that's what it does.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we got a few minutes here, and then the RFK. We told you this was coming on Friday.
Yeah.
It was like the worst kept secret in politics, and we all knew it was going to happen. So RFK Jr. says basically F you to the Democrats. And this is a Kennedy saying this.
Yes.
And he's on board the Trump train. Does this make a big difference electorally?
Electorally, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced.
Because that's what this is all about, right?
It's absolutely about that. Now here's the thing though. It wouldn't take that much in the battleground states for it to make a difference. I mean, if just 1% who were going to go for Kennedy decide to go for Trump, that could be the difference in the election. I mean, because we were looking at some of these battleground states. I think the vote margins were in the tens of thousands, right? It's just in the past election. So that if 20,000 people decide, instead of voting for RFK, I'm voting for Trump, that could be it. So I don't know. It's yet to be seen, but at this point, I'm not sure the polls can tell us.
Yeah, a lot of those battleground states, it's almost a tie. You see 48-47, 49-48, Harris ahead, Trump ahead. So if you toss in
margin of error 2%,
exactly, and if you look at the RFK numbers, which I think in most of those battleground states have been around 3, 4, 5%, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
That's still a decent amount of votes, depending on where they go. It could make a difference.
Now, here's the thing that I'm going to question here is he says in those battleground states, get on board and vote with Trump.
Right.
RFK Jr. is on the left. He is a leftist.
Yes.
There happens to be one particular area where he has some crossover with MAGA and with some people in the Republican Party. But generally speaking, he's on the left. So when you distribute out his votes, the people who would have voted for him otherwise, do they go to Trump? I don't know. I mean, I truly, just because he says I endorse, I don't know.
I wonder, and part of the thing, and again, we look at these polls that do they mean anything? But there's some polls that suggested that some 40-something% of his voters would vote for Trump versus actually a higher percentage would vote for Harris or could vote for Harris.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to draw that. All I do know is that the areas of intersection between the Trump camp and the RFK camp are the major areas of disagreement between the RFK voter and the Harris voter. So I don't know if that's enough, that becomes enough of a bulwark to move them in the Trump direction, or if they just kind of throw up their hands and say, whatever, may the chips fall where they may.
Well, there's more than one category from my perspective. You've got the food complex the food industrial complex, you got the drugs, and you got the environment. Those are three areas that I believe that there's a lot of crossover there. And a lot of those folks on the RFK side are going to say, okay, well, maybe I can handle voting for Trump because at least my guy's going to have some say so if he has a position in the administration, and that would be the question.
Yeah, and that's a whole other discussion if Trump promises to start appointing people on the left into the cabinet, which he might start doing, which we don't have time to get into today. I suspect we'll probably talk about that this week.
Well, in the Arizona rally where he was I think that was his first introduction to the whole Trump thing. Trump announced the formation of a commission to look into political assassinations. And that's where RFK's focus would be. So if that's the case, because I was thinking about this too. We were talking about this. You know, where would you feel comfortable with RFK being appointed within a Trump administration?
How about CIA?
And generally speaking, well,
ooh, baby.
Wait, RFK is the CIA director? Okay, maybe.
Well, if you want investigations and you want to open the books,
holy crap!
Yeah, that would.
If we want to blow something up,
yeah, I'll say the morbid thing. He would be erased within 3 days.
Ooh, man. Oh my God.
I said it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, hey,
let me state for the record, I have no intention of harming myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you find me someplace, I did not. I have no intention.
That's how the CIA operates.
But yeah, that's the thing. So maybe this might be a good thing if he's on a commission there, because for sure he's not one of these establishment people who wants to hide stuff. So I don't know. I'm still undecided whether or not it's a good thing. I'm neutral. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but yeah.
When your uncle and your dad have been assassinated.
Oh yeah, you got skin in the game.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. All right, I got some thoughts on that. Let me know. 314-912-1019. I got a few more of these questions because this was fun.
Oh yeah,
about an hour ago.
Yeah, the Trump versus Harris.
Yeah, who would you prefer?
Who would you prefer?
And by the way, this isn't about politics, so you have to take your political feelings on them aside because your answer might be Kamala to these questions.
Yeah, just think about them as people.
Right. If that's even possible in politics at this time. Let's wrap that up starting at 8:51.
Through the dark side of the moon, I feel there's nothing I can do.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
I watched the world float to the dark side of the moon. After all, I knew it had to be something to do with you.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What happens now and then, as long as you'll be my friend at the end. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well, will you be there holding my hand? I'll keep you by my side with my superhuman might, kryptonite.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-345-2789, 800-345-2789, or biglou.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The November election now fast approaching. Trump and Harris in the trenches. Will there be an October surprise?
Larry Connors, USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Quick follow-up for you, Mike, on capacity for Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's 20,000.
Oh, it is 20. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Okay.
So a lot of folks can sit on the grass.
There were a lot of people. I got to tell you, I'm now to the age where I'm done sitting on the grass. I don't care what the show is. I'm not sitting on the grass.
Not gonna do it.
When I was in my 20s, I would sit in the grass out there and I would watch shows. But no, not now. If I can't get a seat, I ain't going. Nope, ain't gonna do it. Get off my lawn. I'm staying off your lawn, so stay off my lawn. All right. 8:50, almost 8:52 here. Gabe Pfeiffer's here. Stel Pontigas is here. I'm Mike Ferguson. Let's see here. We did. so YouGov went and asked, like, they always have a big sampling of people, a lot. And they just asked him a bunch of random questions. In this situation, who would you prefer be in this situation or like to affect you or to be in your presence?
Right.
Kamala Harris or Donald Trump.
Okay. All right.
Now they did this with Joe Biden, a few months back, but obviously that's now defunct.
Yeah. Doesn't matter anymore.
And some of these, they're all kind of silly. None of them are political. So if you take out the politics and you're actually objective,
yes, please,
you come up with some interesting answers.
It's
here.
actually possible. But
Okay. For instance, who would win in a cook-off? Who would cook better? Who would cook you a meal better?
Probably Kamala.
Yeah, I would agree. That had crossed my mind. I thought, who makes a better omelet?
Yeah.
I wonder if Kamala's got any recipes from her Jamaican dad. Get some.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
get some jerk chicken in there.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would think so
Honestly.
too. And then she could do some curry from her Indian mother's side. So
Yeah.
it's like, dang.
Because Trump probably has all his meals made for him.
Yeah, well,
or he goes to McDonald's.
He goes to McDonald's.
And he puts ketchup on his steak. So
83% said Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
this
clearly.
was the biggest point spread of all of them.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
What-
Goat Lady also said, yeah, Kamala when it comes to
Is that sexist? the lady
Well,
would cook the best.
I don't think it is.
I know.
When you've got Donald Trump with multiple pictures of him with McDonald's cheeseburgers everywhere.
You're buying pizza for everyone.
Right. That's true. Buying pizza. Okay. How about this? Oh gosh, this one. Because we've seen both of these people do this. Who would win in a dance-off?
Oh. I'm gonna presume that somewhere in there behind the alcoholism and drug abuse is allegedly some rhythm. So I'm gonna say Kamala.
Same here.
Kamala Harris, 78%.
All right.
I think because we've seen them both. Listen, Donald Trump's a lot of things, but a dancer he ain't.
No, not at all.
He's got that, and then the fist bump.
Yeah. It's no, he doesn't. Let's see here. Who has better fashion sense?
I'd say Kamala.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Donald Trump has one thing. He has a blue suit and a red tie.
Yeah,
that's like
pretty much
one
it.
and then his golf stuff. So yeah, 70% said Kamala Harris. Let's see here. More trustworthy babysitter.
Oh, jeez. Trump would hire an assistant to do it.
Yeah, he would. He wouldn't actually do it.
He wouldn't actually
do it. He would beg
it.
off.
He was like, okay, I'm going golfing.
Yeah, that's right.
You look after the kid.
69% said Kamala Harris.
Well,
I would probably have to go with Kamala Harris.
Well, and of course, there's just the general, and I think, legitimate bias towards ladies to do childcare.
Yeah.
It just is.
Well,
But,
yeah.
Look, if I'm a teenage boy, you have a choice between a teenage boy and a teenage girl to look after your child. Which one are you choosing?
Yeah.
Right. So look, just accept it. Some sexism is acceptable. Sorry.
How about this? Who is more likely to actually keep a secret?
Oh. Wow.
Between Kamala Harris and Donald, not talking about state secrets, not talking about not leaking to the
It's
press.
like a personal secret.
You say, listen, this happened. Don't tell anybody. Who's most likely to keep it to themselves?
I'll say Kamala, just because I can almost hear Donald Trump saying, okay, so he told me this in confidence, but let me lay this out for you. I can kind of hear him doing it. I can kind of, okay, so I'll just say Kamala.
Yeah, I would agree. Although the fact that she drinks off and on, she could be a little.
She would take so much time explaining the wonders of space to you.
That's true.
That she'll never get around to the secret.
And try to draw a Venn
Space
diagram
is
for
big.
you.
Ukraine is a little country.
Russia's
a big country.
61% said Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Would be more likely.
Yep. All right.
I get it.
Let's see here. What was another one? Oh, who is more likely to help a stranger?
Trump.
I say definitely Trump.
I would agree with you. 60% said Kamala Harris, though.
Yeah,
Oh, of course. Well, and I think part of that is because his reputation took a hit when he decided to become a Republican. Because prior to this, we were hearing all kinds of these stories about how he'd help random people and he'd fly people on planes and he'd give people free stays and various things. Like I have
there's a lot of
I have like 12 stories in my head of him doing philanthropic things for not in front of cameras.
And there have been instances during the rallies where he's actually stopped a rally because someone was ill.
Oh yeah, well,
and walked over and checked on them, etc.
That's standard.
Yeah.
Oh, Virginia Cruda on the Kamala keeping secrets.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Kamala did keep Biden's condition a secret.
Oh, that's a great point.
Oh man!
And the funny part was, I'm like, okay, that's really good, and I'm mad at myself for not thinking of that.
Virginia Cruda, thank you.
There it is.
Yep.
Exactly. Let's see here. There's a couple here. What would be the last one? Let's see here. We talked about who'd survive longer on a deserted. Oh, how about this one? Who would be better at handling spicy food?
I'd assume Kamala.
Same here. I
would think so.
Growing
too.
up in an Indian/Jamaican family, she should be,
especially Indian.
She should be able to handle the spice.
Yep. Kamala Harris says 74% of that.
That should be higher.
Yeah, it really probably should. Because I'm the one that's got to okay, not too spicy when I go to House of India up on Holland Boulevard or something like that.
I've never seen Trump with wings. I'll just say
That's
that.
true.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new. News, analysis, and opinion.
It has been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years.
The worst president in the history of our country.
She's tough. She's capable.
Kamala Harris has been the ultra-liberal driving force behind every single Biden catastrophe.
We face a choice.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron bound. It makes my clothes and home smell. And my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Honesty, integrity, humility, purpose. We're looking